going on in the sport of boxing. Before we get there though, welcome back to VicSznTV, the universal favorite to fight fans from all nations, the best with the sound and vision, and that's why I popped up in your algorithm. If you'd like to support this channel, don't hesitate to drop a little something in my cash app right over here. Don't worry, God will make sure to bless you with that cash back. While you at it, find the like button, smash that, subscribe to my channel past that. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you can bring that ass back. And that's that. Why? Because Vic season got that flavor. So I'm gonna wait for everybody to tune in. Cut the music real quick. Gracias. Thank you so much. Listen, man, we got some brujeria going on in the sport of boxing, man. And I'm about to put you on, man. But first, I'm gonna wait for everybody to start tuning in. Then we can chop it up. We can get involved with the chat and whatnot. And you know how we get down here in the Mafia. Without further ado, man, yeah, let's let this start brewing up, man. This gotta start brewing up. All right, do I got what's up, mi gente? We got both of them joints up. Yeah, man, it's getting a little wicked out here, Papa. It's definitely getting wicked out here. I'm gonna put this chat down right here instead, so that way it's still here. Yeah, it's getting wicked out here, pa. Saludo, mi gente. We about to chop it up, man. Letting the chat build up real quick, man. But we got some brujeria going on. We got some brujeria going on in the sport of boxing, bro. It's getting crazy. It's getting crazy, man. And somebody's finna get exposed. And, you know, we gonna get straight to it, bro. I'm sorry, I don't care what nobody said. We gotta talk about this, bro. Mafia, what's up? Mafia, what's up? Toma, drop a toma. Shiraz wins easy. I'm saying, I don't think so, Sean. I have to disagree with you, especially because I believe he might be one of them ones that didn't sign off on that ring being smaller. Yeah, shade. Before we get there, though, bro, check this out, man. Yeah, man. ChatGPT or AI, they know who I am, bro. You know what I'm saying? I asked this junk, yo, who's VicSznTV? They broke it down, but I put a piece of this, what I found to be the most interesting part within my first year. This junk said, VicSznTV's first year growth is amongst the most prolific in terms of content, volume, and niche engagement. While it may not have the highest subscriber count yet, its upload frequency, branding, and community building are setting up for breakout potential. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty crazy. Yo, give me a round of applause for that. Yep, shit. My first year, they talking about I'm prolific. That shit sounds crazy. I need to research, like, what's the exact meaning of prolific. I just want to make but they motherfuckers said I'm prolific. That sounds like, you know, that sounds hella positive. And don't mind me, I don't do Berico, bro. It's just, it feels a little warm in this room right now. I got the fan blowing. I think it's the dust from the fan getting to my allergies and whatnot. But yeah, son, we out here. He said you asked it to make. Why would I do that, bro? You hate. That's hating, bro. Hold on. I gotta move the chat over here too. The chat overlay. What a hater. You could go look it up yourself, bro. What I get out of lying? I do not get nothing out of lying, bro. Alright, let me see. Did I copy this joke? Alright, cool. Yeah, man. Look it, bro. What do I get out of lying, bro? I do not get none out of lying. Look it. Why bro gotta hate on me, though? What did I do? What did I do? You ain't gotta hate on it. Don't hate, congratulate, bro. You know what? I'm gonna start reading your comments for that, bro. Now your comments are, you one of the ones that can't believe a motherfucker made it because you never believed in yourself, bro. But it's all good. It's all good, bro. From now on, I'm gonna just have to ignore. I gotta ignore the haters, bro. I gotta ignore the haters for that one. What he said, Shiraz going to sleep early. That's a fact, bro. I think it's gonna be early. Like, allergic to haters. Facts, bro. Y'all can go right now. If you go to Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, that is the most updated version so far that I had my experience with when it came to the AI, you know, and that chat shit, right? ChatGPT is like their shit cuts off after like 2004. Or yeah, before they cut off, once it gets to like 2004, they don't got updated. I think you have to pay for the updates to get all the extra shit. So if you don't got you're not paying for it, then you're not gonna get the information with me on there, because I didn't start my channel till I only had it 1 year, and I don't think mine's fit there. But or they're not gonna have all the data of my shit. If you go to Microsoft Copilot, them motherfuckers on point and they up to date with this shit. Search up my shit there. You know what I'm saying? You could even go to DeepSeek. That's another joint. ChatGPT, you got to pay for the joints to get the updated versions and whatnot. But for the most part, yeah, bro, look. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, babe. Vixie the girl. Come on, stop playing with your boy. Make sure that like button on your way in. You know what I mean? There you go. That's what I'm talking about. But without further ado, let's. YouTube is not receiving enough video. Not enough video to maintain as such viewers are. Let me know if y'all experience any type of buffering and ish, man. I'm hoping y'all don't. Yeah, Copilot is free. Copilot is free. Cross, stop the cap. He stopped trying because he wasn't getting no. Yeah, man. But listen, bro, check this out. And let me move this motherfucker down too up here. Why is my chat all the way up there? Let's bring it down. Wepa. Here we got Edgar Berlanga. And he posted on Instagram, on the X app, known as Twitter, just recently. And he says, what happened to the ring being 18 by 18? And he tags Turki Alalshikh. The reason why this seems a little suspicious is because, you know, I guess everybody had to sign off on it. Maybe because it was already on the contract that was going to be 20 by 20. So, you know, in order to change it to an 18 by 18, they would have to like have people re-agree to that. You know what I'm saying? So getting to everybody to sign off, according to, you know, some sources that happen that are supposed to be reliable, you know what I'm saying, are saying that Shakur Stevenson has signed off on it. Other fighters signed off on it too. But then they said Edgar Berlanga came out, so obviously it seemed like he signed off on it, and he's asking like, yo, what happened to the ring being 18 by 18? Because so obviously it didn't have to do with Edgar Berlanga. Now, if it had to do with one of these fighters like Edgar Berlanga or something, it's probably because they didn't make him aware of it. And they're trying to find a cop-out because of Hamza Shiraz. And you know how Turki and Hamza Shiraz are like that. They get along. Hamza Shiraz and Turki are really close. And like I told you, I don't think Turki knew that he was, you know, doing a disservice to Berlanga. I don't think he understood that he was doing a disservice to Berlanga. And I think that's where he went wrong. I mean, a disservice to Hamza, excuse me. I believe Turki didn't understand that he was also doing a disservice to Hamza Shiraz. And now he probably went back on his word, and he went back and like, you know what? That could be an option. That could be something that could be going down. But in my opinion, if everybody was aware, and this is Edgar Berlanga letting us know like, yo, I signed my shit. What happened to the 18 by 18? Like, who didn't sign this shit, right? So off the rip, we could already knock out Edgar Berlanga and Shakur Stevenson, because it seemed like both of those fighters definitely signed off on it. You know what I'm saying? They were okay with it being a 18 by 18. That leaves us with the rest on the card. And I don't think Zepeda wouldn't mind that. So I'm sure Zepeda signed off on his too. That's like 100% facts. Like we know, unless they weren't aware of it and nobody gave them the notification, they wasn't notified about, you know, making the changes, then I highly doubt that would have to do anything with it. You know what I'm saying? I highly doubt that it would, you know, I fucking had a brain fart just, but I highly doubt that they would motherfucking just, anyways, fuck that. I had a brain fart right now, bro. But yeah, man. And all right, here I got it. So it wasn't Edgar, it wasn't Shakur Stevenson, it wasn't Zepeda. I don't think Zepeda would even. So that favors Zepeda, if anything, right? Now we're on to Subriel Matias and Alberto Puello. I don't see why Subriel Matias would not do that, right? I feel like Subriel Matias would be okay with it. Why wouldn't Subriel be okay with it, right? So the only person that pops up to mind is someone like Puello. Now, I'm not saying, I think Puello should be okay with it according to how all the fans are talking. According to how the fanboys of Alberto Puello's talking, he would have no reason to sign that, because they're saying he's not a runner. So he don't need 20 by 20. He could do it 18. A lot of y'all talking big shit. Here's where we get to find out if he was the one or not that signed off on it. You know what I'm saying? Or didn't sign off on it. If he signed off to it, much respect to him. You know, that's something that somebody like Subriel Matias won't have to, depend on to as far as weakness. But if I mean, or not dependent, but to believe that he's has some type of weakness. That shows a lot of weakness. If you over here not willing to sign off for that 18 by 18, that gives off some crazy weakness, bro. I'll be 100. That's giving off crazy weakness right there. I'm not too big on that, bro. I am not too big on that. And I truly believe, bro, I truly believe that Edgar Berlanga definitely signed off on it. I think he's okay with fighting with an 18 by 18, obviously, if he's mentioning it. What about Shakur Stevenson, man? I know they said he was good. So what about we're gonna focus on the ones that we know might have had something to do with it. David Morrell. Could have been David Morrell. Do you think David Morrell did it? Let me know in the chat. Do you think David Morrell? He said, why are you fostering unprofessional? What do you mean by that? I'm about to give you a standing 8 count. I'm definitely about to give you a standing 8 count. Talking about unprofessionalism. I have a cool and okay relationship with you. Cool sometimes, and then you just act a little funny money. Like, what do you mean by unprofessionalism? What is not unprofessional? What is not professional about me right now? I guarantee you, don't make yourself look crazy. Explain yourself. I would like to hear you explain yourself. Let me see what my guy Frontline talking about. I like Polanco, but still too early for a shot. My guy Johnny Knockout. Berlanga slept Shiraz like Norman Jr. did to make a statement to Turkey. But yo, Norman. Oh my God. Norman motherfucking laid bro out. Hold on, man. Norman laid bro out. Who just disrespected Turkey? Who disrespected Turkey? And who cares? If they did, am I fostering somebody? I'm covering. Yeah. I'm not reading your John no more, Crawfish. That's like goofy shit. Matter of fact, Frontline, take Crawfish out. Crawfish, I gotta get you out of here. If it's not boxing, then get him out of here. That's goofy stuff right there, bro. That made no sense. So when something doesn't favor you and you're acting hella emotional, really, really weird, bro. I'm sorry. Motherfucker act like I'm related to, like, Turkey's my dad. Like, oh, nobody could disrespect Turkey, bro. I don't give a crap if somebody disrespected Turkey. Nigga. Who the fuck cares, bro? I don't care if he disrespected Turkey. Yeah, get him out of here. That was like really weird. But yeah, let me put you on. I heard that the dude, what's his name? Let me put him on right now. He ended up knocking out the dude on Conscience, bro. That's not it. Hold on. It's for another piece. Here it is. Yeah, man. He ended up knocking out dude on Conscience and made him forget his memory for the last. Yeah, crazy work for the last month. They say he lost memory of the last month and a half, bro. The last month and a half he lost from this knockout. Yeah, bro, that's sick. From this knockout right here, bro, Jin Sasaki, they're saying that he lost 1.5 months of memory. After the fight, they said he don't even remember this fight being made. He don't even remember the fight being made, bro. That's crazy. I couldn't believe it. I gave him a low blow timeout, 5 minutes. Yeah. Yo, Crawfish, take time. Think about what you just did. Think hard about what you just said, bro. And make sure to come back and put your emotions aside. You know what I'm saying? This is not like boxing is a, it's a women's sport too. But if we're covering boxing, I expect if women could have their shit together, then I expect you to have your shit together too, bro. Not have your emotions and your panties in a bunch. My thing is, I never understood, and I don't want to stay stuck on that topic, but it never made sense to me. That would never make sense, bro. Bro literally told me, he said, why? He said, why are you fostering disrespect? And Berlanga literally asked. He didn't even disrespect. He asked, and it wasn't even me. The crazy thing was Edgar Berlanga. If it was me, who gives a shit, bro? That was I can't even entertain that. I'm off it. Bro said, "Are we talking?" But yeah, bro, that's wicked right there. That's wicked. Yeah, he lost a good amount of his memory from that ish, bro. They said a month and a half. Jen Sasaki don't even remember the fight being made. But yeah, here we got my guy. And who do y'all believe really has something to do with this, man? Let me know. Who do y'all believe has something to do with this? Do y'all think it was? Matter of fact, I'm gonna make a poll right now about it. I want to make a poll, and I want everybody to vote. Make sure to hit that like button. Dang, I don't got my keyboard right on my lap. I hate having. I don't like grabbing all the time. And let me know if it's buffering at all. If the stream is buffering. But yeah, bro. Who do y'all really think has something to do with this, bro? We finna find out. Death was Puello. Let me know. Do you think it was Puello? Because in my opinion, it could only be 3 people right now. They say it's a group of people. It could be all of them. But who's more likely to not sign off on it? Alberto Puello, Hamzat Shiraz, or David Morrell? Who do y'all believe? Yeah, I mean, it's sick work, bro. Look, death was Puello. Yeah, man. It seemed like it might have been Puello. Yeah, I didn't even know the Juneteenth. Shout out to the Juneteenth, man. But y'all motherfuckers gotta stop falling for the system's fucking hustle. They utilizing Juneteenth to sell all of y'all products in Walmart and make a profit off that shit. Y'all need to get the mom and pop shops popping with those Juneteenth merch, man. Don't be going buying that shit at Walmart. You're doing a disservice to the community. But anyways, I just had to throw that out there. Moving on though. It's gotta be out of Puello and Shiraz. Yeah, man. I don't really see David Morrell, but at the same time, it could be, bro. It could be. Let me see. John Paul no juega. Shout out to I like John Paul Rivera. That's my guy right there. I was trying to get him on, but I do got to work on my Spanish just a bit. But other than that, uh, let's see. Puello has to be one of them. His coach said if we have to run, we will run. That's what he's. Hey, yo, that's what he said. Please send me the clip. Let me know where I could find that at. Let me know in the comment section where I could find his coach saying that. If they need to run, they will run. Because that right there already lets you know that that already that's our answer. We already know it. It was Puello. It was Puello. Puello's the one. No, that's incorrect, bro. This is how it works, bro. He said it was Shiraz. Puello has no pool. That's not how it works. This is what happened. Everybody has. It's not about having pool. It's about, the agreement, the negotiation. They might have already signed, right? They might have already signed for a 20 by 20. They might have already signed for a 20 by 20. So now they had to like go back into the contracts and let everybody know, like, listen, we're only making one change to the contract, to the agreement, and we're just making it an 18 by 18 size. You know what I'm saying? Because all that would have to, I'm sure that all that would have to be in the contracts. So they probably had to go back into the contracts and resend it to everybody. Because they said, if you read it right here, it said that because someone on the card did not sign off on it. And then if you look lower, the guy that is actually the source says it was I was told it was a group of fighters that didn't sign off on it. So if they're talking about they didn't sign off on it, it had to do with their contract agreement, which they had to probably go back into the agreement. So it's not about having pool. It's about making sure Turkey don't legally screw himself, right? It's about making sure that they do things by the book. So in order to do that, regardless if you got the pool or not, if you're part of the event, they got to make sure everybody goes back to sign off on it in order to make that 18 by 18 reduction happen, right? So that being said, I do tell me this, Urban, you my guy, one of the day ones for sure. Did you see an interview with Alberto Puello's coach said that if they have to run, they'll run? Because that'd be crazy. And that'll basically solidify this. Because when I was making a video, there was a lot of people saying that Alberto don't need Alberto don't need a 20 by 20. He could beat Subriel with an 18 by 18. A lot of people, not a lot, everybody that was going for Puello was saying this. So my thing is, if the coaches are okay with him running, he said we have to run, we'll run. That kind of makes it more, evident or prove. It almost proves the fact that there's a big chance it was Alberto Puello. I'm sure things will start coming to the light, and we'll have to see, man. I'm hoping that's not the case because I feel like that will say a lot about Alberto Puello. He must not be as much as a warrior as people may think he is. You know what I'm saying? They say, no, he stands there, he bangs, he trades, he's a boxer, puncher. I hear a lot. But 2 feet reduction is not the biggest reduction. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're in the 5x5. But it kind of just betters the chance of in exchanges. It kind of betters the chance of fighters having to stay in the pocket and not deal with that extra 2 feet. Even though it's not that serious, but that 2 feet might be able to create more exciting fights. Might. Maybe not, but it's a step towards the right direction, right? So I would like to know if he was, if he has something to do with that. That would suck if he didn't sign off on it, right? I think he'll be doing his own fans a disservice. Salah's gonna have to eat his words July 12th. Let's see. John Paz se lo echa. William Ortiz también. Let me see. Did you see the last name on the stacked card though? Nah. I'm not. I didn't see that, bro. I didn't see that. Yeah, Shiraz is definitely Turkey guy. I do believe. Don't get me wrong. I do believe it could be Shiraz. I 100% agree with you. I do believe it could be Shiraz, and I think that, like I said earlier, I think that Turkey didn't realize what he did when he made it 20 by 20 to 18 by 18. I don't think he realized what he did and how much of a disservice that would do for his homie, Hamza Shiraz. That being said, maybe Hamza Shiraz was like, listen, how we gonna do this? I'm stepping up weight. I'm going against an aggressive fighter in Edgar Berlanga, power puncher, knockout artist. How are we gonna deduct the size ring on top of that? And I'm already much bigger than him, so it's gonna be easy to hit. I'm easy to hit. I can get chopped down like a tree like nothing if he gets close enough. So that could definitely be it. Maybe Alberto Puello did sign off. Maybe he did sign off. I'm not saying he didn't, because he probably did sign off. Right now it's looking like Hamza or Alberto. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaning more towards, I would say Hamza. Because of the relationship he has the fighter he has in front of him. You know, it seems like maybe Hamza might have, you know, did contacted Turkey and said, "Listen, I'm not signing off on this shit." He said it's in Spanish. An interview with Boxer Urberno. Urberno. I said that mad gringo. Urberno. Boxio Urberno Network. All right, I'm gonna have to check them out and see what they talking about. Because if that's the case, he could. I hope he didn't utilize those words. I hope he didn't use running. I hope he used more like, I hope he used footwork. Or we'll be on the back step, or we'll box more if we have to. But it's safer. I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of people are talking a big game for Alberto Puello, but Alberto Puello is, saying otherwise. Look, you haven't seen that. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I haven't. That'd be crazy. That's hard for me to believe, bro. I would keep it 100. I'm a real one, bro. I'm not gonna sit here and say that that'd be crazy. Vic, what happens to Matias if he loses? If Matias loses, he still has the IBF mandatory. So that's the good news. If he competes for the WBC, I'm not sure if he'll get dropped from that mandatory, but it's all due to negotiations. The only way, according to the research that I've done, that he won't have that mandatory, because there's a confusion with people saying that if you're a mandatory or if you're in a sanctioning body, and this is what makes no sense. A lot of you guys not making no sense when you say this stuff, right? They say when you compete for a world title, you automatically drop the rankings from the other sanctioning bodies. That's absolutely false, because there's people that compete all the time and they're still sanctioned. Even like look at Subriel. Subriel's still number one. If you look it up, he's still the mandatory in the IBF. If that was the case, if competing for world title drops you from every other sanctioning body, then why is he still highly ranked in every sanctioning body? Why haven't they updated yet? It doesn't work that way. Now, it can happen. It's not to say that it won't happen. But what can happen, though, is that, in other words, if Subriel Matias wins, if he loses, he could go back, get that IBF, because it's all on the time. It's like contracted already. So it's all on the time period. He comes back. They see how they could, if it still fills the deadline, they straight. Now, if he wins, he would have to see if there's any mandatory for the WBC. He has to check the obligations for the WBC. And if those obligations could prevent him from obtaining that mandatory in the IBF, then, they'll move on and drop his ranking from the mandatory. But through negotiations, if they're able to still have him, if they're still able to have Subriel Matias compete at the IBF, they can. They just got to make sure that there's no obligations coming from the WBC first, because if he's a champion, he has to answer to WBC first before anything. And then he could go down to see if he could compete for the mandatory, not for the mandatory, but for the IBF. And if he does go for the IBF, he doesn't have to put his WBC title on the line. That's the interesting part about it, because that's a mandatory that's already earned. You know what I'm saying? So he could literally unify while his opponent doesn't get to unify, right? They just got to defend their title because he was already mandatory before he got the title. I know it's a little confusing, but according to the research I've done, that's how the process goes. So if he loses, if Subriel Matias loses, he'll still have the IBF mandatory, until otherwise specified, right? For example, they things happen momentarily. Let's say, okay, he gets dropped in the ranking because something else crazy happens. A lot of times things, maneuver, but I'm sure he'll get a notice before that happens, and then they'll move forward from there. But get the IBF, regardless if he wins or lose. Get the IBF mandatory if he's able to. If he wins, he'll have some obligations, but hopefully he can still get that mandatory. If not, then, he'll have to, defend either the rematch with Alberto Puello. If Alberto Puello wants to exercise that immediately, this is if Matias wins. And if he doesn't, then he'll have to see who's the mandatory for the WBC. And then if the mandatory for some reason don't want to go for it, or somebody don't want to, if they just ducking them at this point, then maybe a unification bout could come from there, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's pretty much how it would go. So even if for any reason Subriel Matias will still lose, he's still in a good position. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm not gonna sit here and push somebody when I know they don't got something bright in front of them. They don't got a bright future. I'm not gonna sit here and push them. Subriel Matias, even being 32 years old, he still has a bright future in front of him because it's already made out for him. All he has to do is compete to his best and collect the victories. And if he could get the victories, then he's in a good place. All right. I hear you. I think it's gonna be fire either way. Yeah, man. I feel you on that. Let's see. Okay. What I'm saying is, if John Paul was at 140, he would eat a lot Polanco. That would be a good fight actually. John Paul Rivera is a great boxer. Great boxer. Polanco is a great boxer. I feel like Polanco gives me more of that Triple G type of style where he kind of sits down on his punches a lot. He does have some type of IQ, but I don't see him being the most technical. You know what I'm saying? I do see him having technical moments, but I don't see him being the most technical. I feel like John Paul Rivera really has the most technical style. But when in terms of power, I think Polanco has that, like those studding shots. I think that's what Polanco would have over John Paul Rivera. I think overall it'll make up for a good match. You know what I'm saying? Subriel KO 8 to 10. Eight or and okay. All love, brother. I don't think it was Puello, but I can't confirm that. The Dominican chat we have has a lot of connects, and we didn't hear it was him, but it's possible. Could be possible. We'll have to wait and see, man. Hopefully he didn't do it, man, because I feel like that would give a whole lot of confidence to someone like Subriel Matias, and it'll take a I feel like he won't have as much momentum if that was to happen. It'll show weakness, like, okay, it seems like it'll give signs of him being intimidated on fighting on the inside because of that. But only one way to find out at the end of the day, right? He said it like that. You will see. All right, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out. I'm definitely gonna check. If he said that, I'm gonna create a content piece about that for sure. He said right now, so Subriel Matias isn't playing with nobody. Yeah, man. That actually makes sense. A lot of sense. Thanks, Vic. I got you, bro. No worries. I got you. Yeah, man. That's what I'm here for. At the end of the day, my job here is to update you guys with boxing news. Obviously everybody has their own niche. You'll find people that mainly focus on black American fighters. You got people that are very diverse. You got people that focus on Cuban fighters. You got people that focus on just UK fighters. There's my niche falls like more in the Latino and majority specifically Puerto Rican boxing. That's just the reality. But it didn't really happen like that intentionally as I kept going. You know what I'm saying? I was just covering the fighters that really excited me. And then during the process, I get excited when I see Puerto Rican fighters doing their damn thing too, because I'm a fan too. You know what I'm saying? And the analyst, I'm also a fan. But it's like today, I covered Brian Norman. You know what I'm saying? Because I cover the Warriors. That's my main thing. If you're doing some Warrior shit, I'm going to do something to cover the content for you because you deserve it. If you're putting your all into that ring and you're risking your life and you're giving out phenomenal performances, shout out to Jin Sasaki too, man. He took a bad beating and he lost a month and a half of his memory. He don't even remember this fight even being made. He don't even remember this fight being made. It was that's crazy, bro. Sad, but at the end of the day, that's what I do here. Uh, but I got the especially because there's Edgar Berlanga, Subriel Matias on the same card. It's like, how can I not push this card and continue talking about it because it's hyping it up. I want to build that, you know, that it's just a speechless type of vibe when that fight happens. So when that hype that when that fight happens and I'm here, I'm like on the edge of my seat while I'm trying to cover it. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh shit. Oh. Like I want to act crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful that, I finally got the crib because I could be as loud as I want. So I when we do the fight next, it's gonna definitely be lit, bro. I'm excited. Matias and Berlanga by KO. Yes, sir. I got it pretty much the same way. Let me see. Let me see what else. It was Puello and Shiraz. You think so? We'll have to see. You know, they're talking about that. He said that they'll run if they have to. That's according. I'm not. I haven't find like I haven't seen that yet. But according to people in the chat, they said that in boxeo, I don't know how to say urban. I'm just say urban boxing, motherfucker. In urban boxing, but in Spanish, they said that they was interviewing them and that he said that they'll run if they have to. Now that wouldn't. I mean, you do what you got to do to win at the end of the day. You're gonna collect any a victory however you can. Hopefully, it's not as boring as of entertainment though. Hopefully, he still gives us performances like he did with Gary Anton Russell. And Sandra Martin. Hopefully, he's not just gonna run away. But at the end of the day, that just kind of gives us an idea that he might have just not signed off on that ring being like that, bro. And it's crazy because a lot of people had a lot to say about that. And if this is the case, wow, bro, there's a lot of momentum that would be lost for that means there's doubt in the mind of Puello. That means he feels like he needs all these, details to actually win the fight. Basically, he don't believe himself. He don't think he could win if the ring was 2 feet smaller than it is now. So Subriel Matias okay with whatever. He been fighting with 20 by 20s. You know what I'm saying? He been finishing people 20 by 20 ring size. You know what I'm saying? So for anybody to sign off that didn't want to sign off on it is because they truly didn't believe in themselves and they have doubt. That's gonna lose a lot of momentum coming into the fight, bro. Puello is about to pull out. Don't be surprised. I was thinking that. I was thinking that Puello might pull out. I swear to Bob, bro. I was thinking that today, bro. I was thinking that today, that he might pull out. I hope not. Bodie, what's up? Ring Magazines is talking more about Martinez than Puello. Let's see. You know what it is? I think what it is that neither Puello or Matias is so much of media guys. If you want to, let's be honest, you don't see them posting so much. They just, it seems like Subriel Matias, even with the shit that he posts, it's more like he's not. That's not what he's into, and the same applies to Puello. It seems like he's not into just posting so much. So I think it's more or less of the reason why they're not getting pushed is because they're probably not contributing towards wanting to be pushed. It's almost like, in the off season, if you want to get support, you got to give them something to support. So keep posting up videos and stuff because they do post people training, and if you're training, they'll be like, you know what? It looks like they're posting people that are. So they just got to keep posting shit up there, update us. And I think Ring Magazine will share that joint. When you're going to fight, doesn't matter the size. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think 2 feet is that serious. I think it does. I think 2 feet is just good enough to kind of. It's just good enough to take one step towards the direction of having better fights. You know what I'm saying? That's really about it. It's not too. It's not gonna prevent a runner. It's not gonna prevent somebody running. You could still run them fucking around 3 people coming at you in an 18 by 18. You know what I'm saying? You could dip dodge motherfuckers, 3 motherfuckers in an 18 by 18 ring. So it's not like, but it could definitely better the chance. Is a step towards the right direction for fighters that do like to back up so much. And a lot of people were saying that Puello's not like that. I know Puello's not like that. It's been proven. Puello's not the runner type of dude. Like, he boxes. He's a good boxer and he's a puncher too. He don't really connect knockouts like he used to. Now that he's fighting more on that high level, but he still gives us great performances and he collects victories. That being said, though, every match is different, and it's looking like if this is the case, then there's some type of intimidation factor that Subriel Matias has on Puello that he feels like he can't win a fight in the 18 by 18. But that, like I said, for all we know, Puello, it could have been just Hamza Shiraz. They said it was a group of people. They said it was a group. According to right here, the guy name is Steve Kim. Steve Kim said, I was told it was a group of fighters, not just one. I was told it was a group of fighters, not just one. So, what I also want to look up too, bro, I hate when motherfuckers say a reliable source or a trusted source. If it's trusted, then say it, motherfucker. We know damn, like it's hard for me. I hate motherfuckers like that. When you find out who the source is a motherfucker drunk uncle. Yeah, motherfucker, a drunk motherfucker just like talking shit. Like, yeah, bro, somebody I heard that, nobody signed off on it except Shakur. No, motherfucker, let us know who the source is. If it's credible, if you're saying it's a credible source, then why are you ashamed to let us know who the source is? So I'm not sure if, Steve Kim, you know, publicized the source. So, forgive me if you did and I just didn't catch it. But if you didn't, bro, like that shit is ass. You know what I'm saying? Stop half-assing, being an analyst. That's corny. But like I said, you probably did. So if you did, I take it back. If that's the case, I'll never run out of content because I could always say, yo, a credible source told me that this fight is fixed. That Edgar, I'll have content for days if I could just go off of credible sources that I never have to let nobody know. So yeah, that's wild. Somebody said De Los Santos quit fight because 3 pounds. Nah, bro. You know what's crazy? De Los Santos didn't quit. He wanted to fight. His promoter pulled him from the fight, and he got mad at his promoter, and they ended up splitting because of that. They split on good terms. So I just have to agree with that. De Los Santos was definitely I rock with De Los Santos, bro. He's one of the warriors, bro. I can't hold you. He's one of the warriors. He was still willing to fight. He got upset that they pulled him from the card, and he looked like he didn't look like he was good to fight. If you want me to be honest, I'm glad that they pulled him from the card because I would have hated that. You know, he gets brutally knocked out or something when he wasn't at his best because of cutting that weight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what was going on during the weight cut or what, but at the end of the day, it didn't matter. He was going against a fighter that was bigger than him, that was going to come more hydrated, while he was going through the suffering trying to make weight. And Keyshawn Davis was just coming in regular. So, yeah, nah, man. Edwin De Los Santos is definitely that guy, and I'm glad that they pulled him from that fight because it might have not looked good if he took that fight. I'm going to be 100, man. Keyshawn Davis is still a problem. He's still a problem. Rather we feel like he was intimidated, which some of us, I guess we might be able to agree on and say, like, listen, he misled on purpose because he wanted that advantage, right? But at the end of the day, it's exactly what it was, an advantage. An advantage that you don't want to have against a fighter that was already competitive. He's a champion. He's the world champion at that time. In addition to that, have an advantage of 3 pounds. That's crucial. Every pound counts, especially when you're going against a fighter that doesn't look like he's deflated. You know what I mean? Let me see. Urbano isn't reliable. I didn't get my ish from Urbano. It was an interview. So the coach said himself. I don't even know why I clicked your comments. I can't be reading your comments no more because you be making sense, bro. I think you don't understand context sometimes, bro. That's what it is. I truly believe you don't understand context. Hey, yo, Vic, it's true. Salah said if Puello has to run, well, he will run. Truth told, that's what the word is. I don't like. I can't say that that's what it is. I can't say because I didn't see it myself. I'll have to go check out. They said he said it just like that. That if if they have to run, they will run. Now that this news came out that somebody didn't sign for the 18 by 18, it kind of just looks bad because now they admitted to like if they needed to run, they'll run. So yeah, that's wild. I hope not. Also, I want the fight. We want that belt. Hitchens is running 147. He's done. Yeah, when it comes to the IBF, you could already, Hitchens is moving up. Hitchens is moving up. He showed every sign. The only way he doesn't move up, if you notice, he been planting the seed the moment Subriel Matias became mandatory. He said it on the X app, formerly known as Twitter. He literally said that the moment Subriel Matias became champion, the next day, he said it. He said, "Yo, I'm moving up to 147 soon. I'll be moving up to 147 sooner than later." That's what he said. Sooner than later, I'll be moving up to 147. That's what Hitchens said a day after Subriel Matias became champion. Became the mandatory. Excuse me. So he planted that seed. He been planting that seed, and then that's why in that Cambosis joint, he didn't call out his mandatory Subriel Matias. He could have said, "Yo, Subriel Matias, make sure to beat Puello. Do your thing against Puello and let's get it because you're the mandatory. But I really want you to get that title because we could really let's make it a unify. I don't care. I know you're the mandatory, and I know that I can't compete against your belt. But stop being a punk. If you really like that, put your belt on the line too if you win." You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not adding. If it was somebody else, he would do it. But he's not adding that type of, promo for Subriel because that's not a fight that he knows favors him. You know what I mean? So the IBF is gonna get vacated really soon. Unless, like I said, I don't even see the T.O. and Hitchens fight happen. That's not happening. These guys don't really want to fight each other, bro. I want to see Devin fight Brian Norman at this point because I feel like Brian Norman will put the gas on the pedal to try to knock out Devin Haney as now, his style is more on the running type tip. And we've seen Ramirez actually kind of buckle. I wouldn't say he stumbled Devin Haney. He didn't stumble Devin Haney, but he landed a nice left hook that had that been Brian Norman, he could have possibly really put Devin to sleep. Brian Norman, the way he knocked out Jin Sasaki was it's scary, bro. That lets you know that, it's a reminder. You don't play boxing, bro. That motherfucker was calling. I felt like Brian Norman felt disrespected. Think about this shit, bro. That's some OD warrior shit. Brian Norman is one of the top warriors in that 147 division, bro. Brian Norman, the motherfucker was disrespecting Brian Norman, making yo, I want this. He's reading a note. Hey, yo, I want to fight you. I want to, let's do this, let's do that. Brian Norman said, all right, let's do it in your home. How about that? Well, we'll fight at your home, bro. That's crazy, bro. As a world champion, he got called out by a fighter from Japan, decided to defend his title in his hometown, and did him so filthy that he made the motherfucker lose his memory from a month and a half ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't remember nothing. The last thing he remembers was a month and a half ago. And that's confirmed from his coach that was in the ambulance with him, taking him to the hospital. And then they're talking. He was fine. He was able to talk and all that. But he just didn't. He never. Right now, Jin Sasaki don't even remember that fight being made. He don't even remember that being a thing. He's like, wait, I was fighting Brian Norman? But we made that fight? That fight had. He didn't even know what the fuck. So yeah, bro, Brian Norman is, I think that's not a good fight for Devin Haney, but I'll respect Devin Haney for taking a fight like that because it's a true 147 pounder. Not at that, he's a champion. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him challenging 140 pounders. I don't want him fighting Hitchens at 147. I don't want him fighting T.O. at 147. I feel like those fights that, the best of those fours, that's already washed up. We need to bring a new, Rushmore of these fighters. You know what I'm saying? It was Shakur, Tank, Devin, Ryan. That shit is all broken up now. Let's just break it up. We got Tank getting a draw from Roach, who nobody knew before that. Let's just be honest. Majority, 80% of the world didn't know who Roach was. You know what I'm saying? Before Tank. So let's get that straight. So he gets a draw from Roach, who came from 130 to 135 at that specific time. Ryan Garcia loses to Rowley. Devin Haney has a whole match After he gets knocked out and gets his old back, he still comes back, and people preferred him. People enjoyed his, loss, his performance in his loss against Ryan more than his victory over Ramirez. Then we got Shakur. We already know about what happened with Shakur a couple times with these performances he been giving us that haven't been exciting. So let's just break that up. I think we're focusing on the wrong things, and we got to start planting the seeds with these other fighters coming up, or at least some of the active fighters now, like Gary Antoine Russell. Let's add more. Let's add Puello into the picture because Puello's still up there. You know what I'm saying? Let's make sure Subriel Matias is in the picture. The fighters that are exciting, let's add them into the picture, bro. I don't let's fucking add Rolly into the picture now. You know what I'm saying? Let's start hyping these fighters up because this, the Fantastic Four turned into the fucking full of shit four. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to them, but at this moment let's take that hype away because there's no hype, there's nothing coming out of it. And it's already destroyed. The shit is like it's not even there no more. Let's move on from that. And I hope that we could actually see some real good fights moving forward. That's 2 feet 4 times, so it's really 8 feet. Well, it's it's if you're gonna line up the feet, yeah, it's 8 feet. But it's 2 feet, just 2 feet closing this way, 2 feet closing this. So it's not it's 2 feet deduction, bro. If we're talking about a square, it's a 2 feet deduction. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're fighting on a linear path. But I see what you're saying, though. I see what you're saying. It's a total of 8 feet. But when we're looking at the pattern of a square, circle, whatever, a squared circle, but let's just say square, it's, you know what I'm saying, is a 2 feet on each. So it does, motherfucker, it's not 8 feet because if it would be like a total of 8, if it was 8 feet each side, motherfucker, that motherfuckers would be squeezing. Motherfuckers might as well put their foot in the tire and box it out like that. You know what I'm saying? That was a little dramatic there, Papa. He made that shit. He made that 2 feet seem like crazy. Stop it, bro. He made 2 feet really sound like it was some real crazy shit right there, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. He also said he is not 100% from the injury he got on the night. Are you talking about Puello from Santa Mar? I hope not, man. I don't want this shit to the Martin fight. Ah, man. Built-in excuses. This is what I mean. Don't mention that. If you already took the fight, I don't care. Don't mention that. That's a built-in excuse. Don't take the fight then. If you're still injured, if you're still injured, don't take the fight. I respect that you're a warrior, but that you're not that doesn't make you a warrior because you had to mention it. You know what I'm saying? You had to mention it. Mention it. That's just something you keep on the side, and then you prove like, yeah, man, no excuses. But I'll be back once I'm fully, once I'm fully healed. And I would like to exercise my rematch once I'm fully healed. But you got that one, no excuses. But I'm gonna make sure this time that I'm really at the where I need to be to compete against a fighter like Subriel. You know what I'm saying? But to say that now and say like, yo, I'm not 100% because of my injuries, but you're still taking the fight. It just seems like it's a built-in excuse, right? And it was so unfortunate that he could possibly win. Of course, Puello could win. Of course he could win. And now it could bring a narrative that, oh, he beat him with an injured hand. And in reality, he might not have been injured at all. That's why it's like, bro, just don't even mention that. If you're injured, then don't fight. You know what I'm saying? Don't take the fight. But don't mention it now. It's kind of trash when you gotta mention it now. Let me see. Yeah, but and like I said, 18 by 18 is not that much big of a deal. It is. Don't get me wrong. If you're a runner, that might be crucial. If you're a runner, but Puello is not. He's not just a run. He's not a runner. He boxes. You know what I'm saying? He gave us good performances, and he exchanged in the pocket too. He gets away. He boxes, bro. So it don't cross me for him to want to not sign off on the John being 18 by 18 because that's still enough room for somebody like Puello to get around the ring and avoid and avoid taking damage from somebody. That's enough room for him to do lateral movements. You know what I'm saying, and get away from uh, an opponent to force him to have to reset and then capitalize on. So yeah, crazy work. Puello wins in my opinion. How you got Puello winning? I'm sure you probably think a decision. What you think? You think he wins by decision? It's a possibility. I got Subriel. I think Subril's gonna take it. And I'm just going according to why I believe he's gonna win. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like I'm just saying, oh, I just woke up. Yeah, Subril's gonna win because that's just my guy. Nah, I got actually logic. But at the end of the day, they got to step in the ring and one punch could crush my logic. You know what I'm saying? Steve Kim is credible. Steve Kim is credible. So that being said, if he's credible, then that says something. Vic, how you keep your teeth so white? Well, these are not. I got my teeth done. You know what I'm saying? I got my teeth done. I used to have like a gap, and you know what I'm saying. So, anyways, but no, yeah. So basically, I just gotta make sure I maintain it. Is this is actually when you get your teeth done, you actually gotta really take care of them too, bro. Cause if not, they could fuck up. But yeah, thank you though. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. But yeah, man. Instead of getting the grill, I decided to get my teeth done. So what I like to do is I'll give you 3 tips, matter of fact. I'll give you 3 tips. Floss for sure. Because flossing also helps in between your teeth. Um there's get yourself I forgot the name, but I got it in my bathroom. I use it. It's like a water pause, but it's a water squirter. Pause. But it shoots. It has like a fast speed of shooting basically, and it kind of like really takes the stains off the teeth that off your teeth. Then there's what's the type of tooth I only use one specific type of toothpaste, and that's what it that something dine. I forgot what it's called, man. It's but there's this, you know. Sure. Anyways, let's get back to boxing. I just wanted to help out if I could. You know what I'm saying? Ring Magazine said Subriel Matias first time fighting New York, and it would be huge when he wins. They said that's pretty dope if they said that. But if he wins, yeah, that'll be crazy because there's gonna be a lot of Boricuas there, though. It's gonna be a lot of Boricuas for Berlanga and for Subriel Matias. I wish Shakur would just, kind of represent the Puerto Rican culture more so he could grasp that audience too, bro. Because I don't care what nobody says. They'll be like, yeah, he's Puerto Rican. Yeah, he's Puerto Rican. But if you're not showing your pride, then people are not going to take you as that. They're not going to feel like that you're representing Puerto Rico. You know what I'm saying? You could be full Puerto Rican. But if you're not really representing, like for example, sometimes people don't, rock with Edgar Berlanga. Why? Because it seems like he puts his intention more towards, the I would say the more street persona, the more gangster persona, the more, you know, what I mean. And it seems like there's more attention towards that than having that Puerto Rican pride. Majority of the time when we seen somebody like Miguel Cotto and Tito Trinidad, it's like there was just a walking Puerto Rican flag. You know what I'm saying? Tito and motherfucking Miguel Cotto were just like walking Puerto Rican symbols. You know what I'm saying? They were just fucking. It just what it was. There was nothing else that was taking the shine over their Puerto Rican pride. And that's why, and it was consistent with it. They just kept, and they were humble. They didn't have to do too much. They just kept winning, doing their thing, putting their all into it. And eventually the people's like, yeah, these guys are the ones right here. Yeah, I honestly think Puello outboxes Matias. I'm sure I kind of seen that coming. I mean, he's the whole package. Nah, I wouldn't say he's the whole package. If he was the whole package, he'll be getting a lot more knockouts. Shout out to my guy, Ja Quinn. Shout out to my guy. Let me make sure if y'all cash at me. Oh, um, no, just making sure nobody did that. But yeah, I don't have. Let me see if you have a decent breakdown for me to read. Why doesn't anybody talk? Yeah, Pollo can outbox Subriel, but let's see if he can take punishment. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't really see it happening, man. I don't see him outboxing Subriel. It is possible. I just don't see it. But it all depends. Like I said, they never fought each other before, so I'm only when I'm doing these predictions. I can't sit here and do these predictions based off of. I can't do these predictions based off of me just being a psychic. You know what I'm saying? I can't be like, yo, this was gonna happen. I can't do that because I don't know. At the end of the day, nobody knows. So they never faced each other, right? So I gotta go, through the process of comparing certain fights, comparing the styles and how they match up, how they performed against similar styles, and things of that nature. And I just feel like there's more towards Subriel's story and him competing against boxers. People like to use Leon Pero as an example, but that's not a great example because he wasn't boxing. His game plan, the main game plan he had was excessive clinching, pushing. That was his main game plan. And then, in addition, he some low blows in the clinch and shoulders and headbutts. That was all being applied in the fight, but majority of it was excessive clinching and excessive pushing. So that's not boxing abilities, right? That's not boxing IQ. That's what I want to say IQ, but I would say that's not really some. That's not a legal boxing, game plan. So that's he didn't outbox Subriel Matias. He basically did whatever he had to do to win that fight. He did box, but he didn't outbox him. He just did whatever he had to do to win the fight. And I think people confuse that. People think that he was staying in the pocket, trading with him. They think he was doing lateral movements and just washing them up and making them miss all the time and doing all. Nah, he wasn't doing none of that, bro. Do they test for PDs in Japan? I don't know. I don't know. If you're referring to Brian Norman just looks like he's a tank, bro. He's brolic. He don't cross me for a person that does PDs though. You know what I'm saying? You know how there's some people that they just look like they're unnatural. For some reason, he just like he got really good genetics, Brian Norman. But I could be totally wrong. Remember the movie Forrest Gump? That's T.O. and Hitchens. Yeah, pretty much. T.O. not so much, but he does. He's not that fighter he used to be at 135 for sure. Matias will show Russell how it's done. I hope so, bro. Make sure to hit that like button on your way in, too, Shy. Where we at? Let me see what else we got. Matias versus Russell will be the fight. They are the only ones that will fight each other. That's the fight that I'm hoping brews up and makes sense with each other. You know what I'm saying? If Subriel Matias was to win, he could face. If Subriel Matias wins, during that process of them competing each other, Gary Antoine Russell and Teofimo Lopez could fight each other right now. I would love to see that. Gary Antoine Russell versus Think to Unify. Then Subriel Matias, if he wins, gets the IBF title since he got the mandatory. You know what I'm saying? And look, at nowadays, you know what they're doing? I won't be surprised if they upgrade Subriel Matias because that they just did that with somebody. The IBF just upgraded somebody to a full champion. Who was that? Oh, wasn't it motherfucking Mortataya? Mortataya was just upgraded to the IBF champion, right? He was ranked number 1 and he got up, or was he some type of intro? I'm not too, but I know he got upgraded. He was ranked number 1. He got upgraded. He was the mandatory, and he got upgraded to full champion. So, or elevated to full champion. So I won't be surprised, bro, if Richardson Hitchens, ducks and he goes up to 147 and vacates, and Subriel Matias beats Alberto Puello. They might elevate Subriel Matias. You know what I'm saying? To full champion in IBF. I don't really like that idea. I don't like the whole elevating and promotion and all that shit. I feel like you should rather fight, but at least that could get us a step closer to undisputed. You know what I mean? Everybody signing up for 154 after watching that Norman KO. Yeah, motherfuckers gonna dip out of that. Yeah, man. If you're in Boots, a lot of people are saying, but I guess Boots gave him an offer before and they didn't take it. But I think it came with, some. My thing is, if an agreement is not, if somebody sends you an offer, right? If you really want the fight, you would make a counter offer, right? And if the other person really wants to make a fight and they don't agree with that counter offer, then they'll make a counter offer. It's called negotiations. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers don't. That's how you know. That's another form of ducking. When somebody said that they didn't like the offer and they just stopped negotiations. Motherfucker, you don't have to stop negotiations. Somebody's always gonna. The first offer is never gonna be something more like in your favor. That's because the person that's giving the offer, obviously they gave you something that they were satisfied with, but it might be something you might not be satisfied with. But doesn't mean you just stop right there. You say, okay, you know what? I see what he's doing. He's trying to get a fucking 70-30, cut from the purse. You know what I'm saying? So how about, we hit him back up and say, let's do a 55-45. You know what I'm saying? And he could get the 55, I'll get the 45, but I'm not taking 30. I'll do the 40. You know what I'm saying? There's ways to go about that. There's ways to counter the offer and negotiate. If you guys really want to fight, negotiate and make it happen for the people, right? But they're not doing that. A lot of these motherfuckers not doing that. They get an offer and they're like, nope, I don't like it. I'm moving on. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure that's what what the Normans did, but I'm hoping that they actually tried to negotiate. And the thing with Boots, and I will say this too about Boots' side, is that I'm just like, damn, I'm kind of disappointed because there was just a lot of good fights brewing up at 147, and he was just stating before his last fight that he felt good. He got a nutritionist, and this is the best he ever felt making weight. That he don't know what people be talking about. Next thing you know, he can't make the weight. You know what I'm saying? It just don't look good, bro. It just and it not even as like I'm not really excited for Boots to go to 154. I'm not excited for Boots at 154, bro. I'll be honest. I'm not that excited for Boots at 154. I guess maybe it'll grow on me. Pause. Maybe it'll start causing more attraction. You know what I mean? I just felt like he has so much unfinished business because there was just so much brewing up at 147, and then it just got abandoned. But when he had the opportunity to go 154, and I'm not saying he had. I feel like he did have valid reasons not to go to 154 because he wanted to make sure he actually beats a champion before moving up. But then he still stuck around, and it just I don't know, man. I'm not big on that, man. Yeah, the excuses coming already, man. Yep. Let me see what we got here. That's why the rematch clause. Yeah, there is a rematch clause, but the rematch clause is more or less set on a date. There's a deadline. So it doesn't mean that they have to have it has to be immediately. Unless that's in the contract, of course. You know what I mean? But normally they'll have a set date for a deadline and say like, the person that lost has to, try to exercise that and they still gotta go through negotiations, but they gotta go and make sure they make it happen before the deadline. That's pretty much it. So in other words, Subriel Matias could get the WBC title and he could fuck around and unify, go get the IBF, and then come back to get that give the rematch clause to Alberto Puello. It could happen like that. It's just gotta be according to the deadline, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, too many. The excuses. If he's already giving excuses about his injured hand, and they're saying that if they need to run, we're gonna run. And if he didn't sign off on the 18-by-18 ring reduction, then that says a lot, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That means that Alberto Puello is going through a stage where he's insecure in this fight against Subriel Matias. He's feeling insecure about this fight against Subriel Matias. If that's the case, already making excuses about an injury, his coach saying that they'll run if they need to, and we'll have to wait until this plays out and unfolds because I would really like to see who didn't sign off on it. I would really like to see. They say it was a leg, I believe. Man, that's crazy. He even put revenge just if he lose. Oh yeah, the rematch. Yeah, yeah, that's another thing. He put the rematch clause. A lot of people say, "Oh, that's regular as a champion. You always put a rematch." No, it's not. What the? I swear to God, you motherfuckers don't watch no boxing. Y'all motherfuckers don't know boxing. Y'all motherfuckers really don't know boxing. This is what I mean. It is normal. It can be normal. It's not like it's taboo and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers do rematch clauses as champions, of course. But my thing is for you fans, and this is not even towards Alberto Puello, because deep inside Alberto Puello truly respects Subriel Matias, and I know for a fact that Alberto Puello, according to how he's carrying himself, doesn't believe that it's gonna be a walk in the park like the fans are making it seem like. You guys are making it seem like, yo, he's gonna wash up Subriel Matias, but the way that Alberto Puello is moving is not matching the energy that you guys are trying to talk when it comes to Alberto Puello. That's the problem. You guys are saying, oh, he doesn't, he's going to beat him easily. If he's going to beat him easily, anybody that's that confident in beating somebody else that easily, why would they want to put a rematch clause on there? Why would they want to put a rematch clause? If they knew they could beat him easily, nah, let's just, you know what I'm saying? We're just going to get him out of there and that's it. No, he got a rematch clause because he knows this guy not going to be a walk in the park. This is where the fans are. This is what I'm saying. You fans are stuck on the how things look when it comes to boxing. You guys are stuck on, oh, he looks like he could beat Subriel Matias according to his boxing style. And if we're going based off that, then I could agree, because when we look at boxing, and we see someone like Alberto Puello, we could see the traditional style he has. You know, fundamentally sound, great footwork, controls the distance pretty well, good defense, right? So obviously, when you look at it like that, you're like, yeah. But then when you see the outcome of these fights, when you kind of match up the styles and you kind of compare, you know what I'm saying? Fighters that are similar to Alberto Puello. Pero and Alberto Puello are not the same type of fighters. Alberto Puello is more like a Malik Hawkins type of fighter. Malik Hawkins was also undefeated, 18-0 before going against Subriel Matias. He also has more reach than Alberto Puello. He's also taller than Alberto Puello. You know what I'm saying? So that's a better example. And we seen what Subriel Matias did to him. And you guys might be like, oh, but that don't mean nothing. If that didn't mean nothing, then why is Alberto Puello requesting a rematch clause? Why is he demanding a rematch clause? Why is Alberto Puello already talking about an injury he has? Why is Alberto Puello's coach saying that they'll run if they have to run? Are you guys not putting the pieces together? You know what I mean? Puello, let me see. John Racanelo fight was 18-18. Yeah, it probably was, and I'm sure it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm sure a lot of people didn't notice that. Just put it that way. You just said that, right? But if it was that noticeable, I'm sure a lot of people in the comments would have been like, yo, that shit was small as hell. You know what I'm saying? I can guarantee you a lot of people didn't realize the difference in the sizes. That's just my opinion, though. Everybody got their own opinions, but in my opinion, you know, and I actually been in the ring a couple times. You know, I've been in the ring a lot of times, but not really on a competitive level. I've trained. I've done a lot of that. Like my family has a gym. Like we got a family-owned gym. Shout out to Team Taino. But that's my big bro shit. You know what I'm saying? They got the gym and all that. And, you know, they got if I'm not mistaken, they have about an 18-18 size ring. It might be even a little smaller, but it's still enough room for motherfuckers to avoid, you know, exchanges. You know what I mean? So 18-18 isn't that, it's not that big of a deal like people are making it seem like. It does play a role. Don't get me wrong. If you're a runner and you really rely on that back foot, that 2 feet could be crucial for you. But if you're a person that don't mind sitting in the pocket and you're not much of a runner, you know what I'm saying? You could sit in the pocket. You could use lateral movements when necessary. That shouldn't be a big deal for you. You know what I'm saying? But that's the purpose of those 2 feet, to kind of, you know, prevent as much as possible those fighters that really like to utilize every single inch of that 20 foot. Puello outboxing is too scared. Nah, but that's what I'm saying. When you say these are not good takes. These are not good takes, bro. Um, I Let me know details. Like, give me some good takes, and I'll read your comment, bro. I'll read your comment. But if not, if you don't have like a decent take that outside of yo, he just more skilled. Listen, motherfuckers that's more skilled get knocked out all the time. People look at Brian Norman when Brian Norman just did to Jin Sasaki. Motherfuckers thought that Jin Sasaki was more skilled than Brian Norman, and people kept saying that Brian Norman lacks in exchanges. He gets caught too much in the middle of exchanges, and his opponent is a better counterpuncher. That being said, some people believe that Jin Sasaki was just a more skilled fighter. And look what happened to Jin Sasaki. He don't remember what happened from yesterday to last month. He don't remember none of that timeline, bro. He don't even remember ever making a fight with Brian Norman. Brian Norman is not known to have the most skills, but he's knocking motherfuckers that out clean that might have more skills than he do. You know what I'm saying? Who's another good example of somebody that just got beat up on? Look at Subriel Matias and Malik Hawkins. Malik Hawkins had more skill than Subriel Matias. He had more reach, he had more height, he had more skills. He was coming out of Mayweather gym. Saying that he outboxes him because he's too skilled is not a good take. That's not a good take at all. That's not a good take at all. I don't mind hearing your take though, and I'll be like, okay, that's dope. That's good. That's a good perspective. That's a good angle that you got there. But saying that he's too skilled is not gonna be enough. These are professional athletes, and they are complaining about people running. Go catch them. But that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I do agree with you on that. You got to catch them to an extent. But it all depends the type of running that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, what Devin Haney was doing and what William Skull was doing was unacceptable. Because, yeah, we got to go catch you, but motherfucker, I shouldn't have to go catch you. You should be there for me to catch, but be able to avoid getting hit. That's a part of boxing, bro. You could hit and not get hit, staying in the pocket, and but not staying stuck in the pocket. You don't have to be flat-footed, but you could stay in the pocket. Shakur Stevenson does it a lot. Shakur Stevenson also has a bad rep for running when he, I guess, feels some type of power, right? When he felt that Edwin De Los Santos power, that boy was on a bike. But for the most part, if you see in his last fight, he stays in the pocket and he's able to do his thing in the pocket. And then when he has to do some lateral movements, he will when it's necessary. When you're running, yes, it's one thing to catch you have to learn how to cut the ring. But my thing is, that shouldn't be a when you go get a job and you have the description of your job, it shouldn't say when it comes to boxing that you have to chase down, you got to run after your opponent. It should never have to be like that. I have to chase you down. That shouldn't be a part of boxing. A game plan to win a fight should not be chase him. Do you see how ridiculous that sounds now? When you say go catch him, that's why it doesn't make sense when you say that to the extent. I do agree. Some like there's a fight with Canelo Alvarez and William Skull, and I felt like the punch rate of Canelo Alvarez was so low, and there was times where I feel like he could have picked it up a bit more. You know what I'm saying? So I do apply that to some of those situations when it came to Canelo versus William Skull. It just seemed like he was being too patient for a fighter that was on the back foot when he could have, kind of pick up his punch rate a little, at least attempt. And I felt like we didn't get a Canelo Alvarez that was willing to attempt. It seemed like Canelo Alvarez was just waiting for him to stay where he wanted him to stay. Is what I don't really agree with. When we look at someone like Devin Haney was fighting against Ramirez. Skull was on the back foot too, and I didn't like that fight at all, what Skull was doing. That was unacceptable. But the reason why it kind of goes a little harder with Devin is because Devin Haney is not facing Canelo Alvarez. He's not facing a fighter like Canelo Alvarez. Skull is probably shook, like, fuck, I can't get hit by this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So he's trying to be on the back foot however he can. If he can collect the easy victory from a fucking decision, then he's going to do that, right? But when we got Devin Haney fighting Ramirez and he's doing that, it's kind of like, and we know that, like, yo, bro, I think you could finish this fight. What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That's when it starts becoming, and the punch rate are still low. That's when it's like, okay, something needs to change here, bro. But for the most part, a game plan, a boxing game plan should never have to be, yo, I gotta chase him down. That should never have to be. It should be like, yo, I'm a cut off the ring, and that's gonna be my style, cutting off the ring. And if a motherfucker could get away with you, they could stay in the pocket, and they get close enough, stay in the pocket, and then lateral movement to break the rhythm, make them reset, capitalize off it, and get back to getting busy. You know what I'm saying? Get back to boxing. That's boxing. Not exchanging is not boxing. It's hit, not get hit. It never been not get hit and not hit. You know what I'm saying? It never been not hit and not get hit. It was hit, not get hit. And what's going on? Motherfuckers is just not hitting. They're not hitting and they're not getting hit. That's not boxing. Water floss. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. There you go. There you go. Water floss. You got it. Yup. And that should just squirt. Whoosh, pause. Gunk. Okay. Cessadine. Yeah, you got it. Damn, I'm packed up with the comments. I'm gonna try to catch up a little more for y'all. But yeah, man, that's a fact, bro. Senegal. I'm gonna look through the ones that are more interesting though. You know, let me see if you guys got some Jacquin, do you think Pollo will okay, let me see. Plaque is a good for your teeth. I haven't got plaque off my teeth in 11 months. Okay. Okay. I'm leaning more towards Puello. Okay. Hey, what's your take? I would like to hear your take on that. If you're leaning more towards Puello. Let's go a little down. Not all KO artists have a lot of power. That's true. That is true. Sometimes you don't. It's a precision. You know what I'm saying? Timing and precision. Some motherfuckers don't got the most power, but if they got great accuracy and they got good timing, your ass could get knocked out. There's a quote. It says what is it? Timing beats power and precision beats speed. So there you go. Let me see. This is the comeback of Subriel Matias. Yes, Puello is a good long distance boxer, but now Subriel has to show how closing, stopping a runner boxer is done. It took that. Subriel is ready for 15 rounds. Yeah, man, I could agree with you on that. Yo, Puello has 3 wins by split decision and very questionable win over Jonathan Alonso. Yeah, and he has people thought that he lost to Sander Martin. So it's getting. I get it though. Believe me, I get it. When we're looking at the looks of things, I get it. A lot of people will automatically think that there's a bad matchup for Subriel Matias. There's a reason why Subriel Matias is confident in taking this fight, bro. And there's a reason why Puello demands a rematch clause. There's a reason why Puello, coach, according to some of the members in the chat, is saying that they'll run if they have to. And if this is another case, there's a reason why he's already having built-in excuses talking about he's injured. If you're injured, why you even take the fight, bro? You know what I'm saying? Why you even take the fight if you was injured? I don't get that. That's a built-in excuse. That's not warrior status right there, bro. And then if he didn't sign off on the 18-by-18, then that goes to show you, there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of doubt in the mind of Puello if that's the case. You know what I mean? So, I'm just hoping that he doesn't give a Skull type of fight, a William Skull type of fight, and he actually comes in there, performs, and at the end of the day, I don't take nothing away from Alberto Puello. He's a great boxer. He beat Gary Antoine Russell, bro. You can't just beat Gary Antoine Russell. Gary Antoine Russell's a monster, bro. He's a monster. You can't just beat Gary Antoine Russell. Alberto Puello beat him. That being said, he's not just no slouch. But I do believe that fight against against Gary Antoine Russell took something from him. I think that fight against Sander Martin took something from him. He's coming off of 2 split decisions in a row. Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I'm keeping everything in consideration. This is a big fight for Matias. Either he's back on the map or his career could be done. It all depends. His career could be done if he's not able to, if he does lose, for let's say if he does lose and he's not able to, obtain the IBF mandatory that he currently has, then it could start going downhill again, right? But if he still has that IBF mandatory, if he loses, he could just go compete for the IBF title. And it's boxing. You win some, you lose some, right? But if you're able to still get yourself in the picture because you earned it, then he could come back and fight again and still, beat Alberto Puello if they could do the rematch. You know what I'm saying? It happens all that. That's what boxing's all about. That's what makes fucking boxing exciting. When fighters lose, come back and win, and they got a trilogy, and it happens all the time. Look at Duran versus Sugar Ray Leonard. That should turn into a fucking classical trilogy. You know what I mean? So it's not always about it's not always about if his shit is done. If he didn't have that mandatory, I would definitely agree with you though. But since he still has that mandatory, he still has something to hold on to. He set himself good. They set up Subriel Matias team set themselves up pretty good, bro. Pretty damn good. Round of applause to them. They did their job and they didn't do it with no major promotion right now. And Fresh Productions, that they're damn near a major promotion after that move, bro. After they made that move, I gotta consider them up there with Matchroom and all of them. And y'all might not be familiar with them, but Fresh Productions, motherfucker, they took Subriel and Subriel too. Shout out to both of them as a team, as a collective, as a representing each other. They lost to Leon Perro, and they could have been able to stay with Matchroom, but they decided to do things their own way because they believed they could get to a title shot faster again. They was right. They was absolutely right, bro. Make sure to hit that like button if you're tuning in here. Make sure to hit that like. Don't hate, congratulate. We gonna go straight down to the Cash App, my guy. Appreciate you. Shout out to Hector Bermudez. My guy says, appreciate your wisdom. Your explanation was spot on. You really brought clarity to the topic. Great job. Thank you, bro. I truly appreciate you, man. That means a lot to me. And thank you so much, man. I truly appreciate you. Shout out to Hector Bermudez. Make sure to drop a thoma in the comment section for my guy, Hector. Salute, Vic. Yeah, no doubt, man. Let's see what's up. Shout out to my peoples. All right, all right, all right. He's making Thai boxer. Let me see. But yeah, man. Subriel Matias is definitely on his son. Alberto Puello, like I said, Alberto Puello got a lot of fights that could potentially take away from his performance. A lot of situations, a lot of circumstances that could prevent him from having his best performance against Subriel. He's coming off of 2 wars, split decisions. He's saying that he's still injured. His coach is already saying that they'll run if they have to. He demanded a rematch clause in the agreement. We have. I'm not sure about the size of the ring, what's gonna take place with this. If like I said, if Puello did have something to do with this, then and didn't sign off on it, then that kind of tells you something else there. You know what I'm saying? That kind of tells you that maybe Alberto Puello is, he's a hurt warrior. Alberto Puello might be a hurt warrior. There's a dent in his armor. You know what I'm saying? Alberto Puello might have a dent in his armor. And we don't know if he's going to be able to perform to the best of his ability against a scary fighter like Subriel Matias. I think even if they're both at their best, it's still a hard fight. It's a hard fight regardless. For both fighters, it's a hard fight. But right now, the way Alberto Puello's moving, he doesn't look too certain about this fight against Subriel Matias. And we don't know. The outcome could be crazy. Alberto Puello, I could be saying all this. Alberto Puello could fuck around and win by devastating fashion, right? He could. But at the end of the day, it's not the confidence in his, in how he's carrying himself is not showing. The confidence isn't showing. Usually, confidence is a good sign of to lean towards a fighter for a prediction. When you see fighters come out and they have that little smirk, like, yeah, I'm ready to put on. Those are the fighters that you could count on to give their best out there because they're not over celebrating and they're also not looking down, looking scared. They're not, they're like, it's my time. I'm ready to showcase everything I put into that training camp. I'm ready, and they don't even know what's about to come. They just focused. They're just making sure that they're staying focused on their game plan. They're not getting too caught up over here, over there, because they're just like locked in. Nope, my mind is on the game plan. I can't wait to showcase what I've been working on. Yeah, I mean, and I don't see that type of confidence right now for this build up coming from Alberto Puello, man. Yeah, no, 29-1 is a great record. But you gotta understand, this is what I mean. You're bringing up fights, right? Think about this. That's not a good way to compare it. First of all, Petro is not even. There's a few things that go into this, right? Petro and Alberto Puello is two different fighters, right? Styles make fights. That's one. Two, Subriel Matias came back and finished um Petro, right? He finished him when he came back, made him quit. Three, the time that Alberto Petro beat Subriel Matias, that was shortly after Subriel Matias had caught the body in the ring and he wasn't training like he used to. He was drinking a lot. He turned into alcohol. That catching a body in the ring affected him. He literally killed somebody in the ring, bro, and it affected him, and it showed in his performances. Right, that was one of the fights that took a lot from him because according to their team, no excuses. I don't know what really happened, but I'm sure if you're dealing with that type of situation, why would somebody lie about it? That's not like if there's anything to believe, I would believe that. Motherfucker turned to alcoholic after killing somebody in the ring. That's the fuck. That's no that I would think that that's probably the go-to. If you kill somebody in the ring, I'm surprised Bro Matias is still boxing right now. Motherfuckers would have been fell off. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we kill somebody in the ring, it hit different when you catch a body, bro. Shit hit different. That's why you ever see in movies and shit, motherfuckers throw up after they catch a body. They get sick. They turn mentally they're not the same no more, right? Because that could have been them. But anyways, that's not a good example. Yeah. Oh, you talking about Ricardo? Oh, I'm not too sure. I'm confused where you're coming at. But Petro, even Matias losing to Petro, that's not the best example, bro. Because and my fourth point is boxing is about what happened as of recent. It's not about what happened years ago. Because we can't pull up. That's like trying to make, someone like Teofimo Lopez relevant at 147 for what he did at 135. They're gonna be like, no. Why do you think Boost didn't take the fight? Because he wanted to go to 140 thinking that, or 147 thinking that his legacy was enough to secure him a fight and for a unified fight to become a unified champion in a different division. And Boost was like, nah, nigga, what the fuck? What do I get out of this? You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. Like that shit don't matter. What you did, it's all about what have you done as of recent. And I kind of like went a little off, but my point is, it's about what have you done as of recent. That's what boxing is. People grow from years ago, right? So you can't judge somebody from a loss they had a couple of years ago. Look at Floss. Floss got knocked out in the first round about like 9 fights ago. He got knocked out in the first round like 9 fights ago. Then Floss now has been on the fucking tear. Been on like a 8-fight winning streak, but looking impressive every time. In his last fight, he looked spectacular, bro. Looked spectacular. That loss doesn't define the fighter he is today. And that applies with Subriel Matias too. That loss he took, especially because he already defended, he already got his lip back. Subriel Matias had already got his lip back for that fight. He already got his lip back. That's the end of the story. Boom. That's it. Moving on. Where we at now? You know what I'm saying? That's not a conversation no more. Wilder wanted a body on his record. Yeah, that's what he wanted, right? He wanted a body, right? This is a perfect example. Look how I'm about to shut this shit down, guys. Everybody, stay tuned. Look how I'm about to shut this shit down, bro. I love doing this shit, bro. I love it because I swear to God, I'm low key a genius. I'm like the best at this shit, bro. The memory's there for some reason. It just this. I love this. I got the perfect counter for this. Shout out to Jock Quinn, my guy. Love you. Don't take nothing about this, but Wilder wanted a body on his record, right? And I'm not sure what angle you're using this. So if you're using this as a way of like, bro, people want a body on their record. That's a break. Here's what I'll say to that, right? Here's what I'll say to that. If Wilder really wanted a body on his record, right? You seen how you see, look, so let's compare, how somebody would react, how somebody like Wilder would react to a body. Did you see when he KO'd that I forgot his name, the white dude? He KO'd the shit out the white dude, right? He went backstage and started crying about it. It was a touchy ass moment. And he said, listen, man, he started crying and he said, he gave a shout out to the preacher Cologne. He said, man, yeah, we could die in here. We give our things and he said all of this stuff, man. It was really heartfelt, right? He did that. That's how he reacted. And he didn't even catch a body. Deontay Wilder cried his eyes out, and there was no shame of it because he said something really impactful. That was an impactful moment in boxing right there, bro. But even though he said he wanted a body, look how he reacted by just knocking out somebody cold. Look how he reacted. He was backstage crying about it. And he said, man, I done knocked some years out of his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do this, like, that could have been me. You see what I'm saying? So that's just what happened when he knocked somebody out. He might want a body, but everybody wants something until they actually get it. We've seen how he acted when he knocked somebody out. Imagine if he actually caught the body. I guarantee you he'll be spiraling, bro. Guarantee it. If that's how he's acting over knocking somebody out, what's expected, what he been doing, I guarantee you if he actually bodied that dude, bro, what would have happened? He would have been spiraling. He probably would have became an alcoholic. He probably was, a lot of these motherfuckers was alcoholics. Look at Ryan Garcia. He became an alcoholic without having to kill nobody. You know what I'm saying, in the ring. So when you actually take somebody's life in the ring, that plays tricks on your mind. And it makes you wonder, like, yo, that could have been me. Or why wasn't it me? Or should that be me? You know what I'm saying? You start questioning a lot of shit after you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, Wilder might have thought he wanted that, but it was clear that if he would have received it, his career would have been spiraling. For sure. He wouldn't be the same person. Yeah, imagine if you unalived them. Exactly. Imagine if you unalived them. Matias needs to rematch and KO Perro to shut up the haters. Yeah, I don't think Perro didn't really want the rematch. I know Subriel was calling for it, but I think something on the Perro side, they're saying that they're not like ready for that type of fight or some shit like that. I got to do more research on it, so don't take my word on it now. I want to be your credible source. So when I talk like that, don't take it as thing. I'm just going according to, what my ear's been listening to in the YouTube streets of boxing and Twitter streets of boxing. But, I want to make sure before I actually make that final that I got the source and everything to deliver you guys. That's why I got these shits here. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I always got the proof behind it. And always lead you guys towards the right direction. You know what I mean? Let me see. Let's say it's maybe Puello don't like a small ring. It's not on Puello, right? I'm not, a lot of what I'm saying don't be on Puello. Like, maybe Puello should start being, maybe it's okay for him to be picky. Like, nah, man, I want to, But if that's the case, then fans should really start respecting Subriel Matias and not and not say that, oh, this is so easy. There's an easy cakewalk for Puello, because it's looking like Puello don't even believe that. So how can I take you serious as a boxing fan when you're saying this is easy for one thing, this is easy for this fighter, but he don't even consider it easy because he feels like he can't compete the same if the ring was 2 feet smaller. He feels like he needs a rematch clause because there's a good chance he might lose. Um, you know, I'm just saying, and like I said, good. There might be some that he didn't do none of this. He didn't motherfucking had nothing to do with the size, and he probably did sign off on it, whatever the case is. But hey, man, it's just not looking good. That's all I'm saying. It's just not looking good. Who else is here? Madonna versus Broner. Ask for a 24-foot. There have been fighters that ask for a 24-foot ring, bro. Crazy. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that, right? If you want to do that, that's cool. If you want to do that, that's cool. But if that's the case, don't act like you know, don't shit on your opponent, in other words. And fans that do want to shit on the opponent of Alberto Puello, it don't age well when you have your fighter carrying himself this way. And there's nothing wrong with Puello not signing off on it. There's nothing wrong with Puello wanting a rematch clause. There's nothing wrong with, Puello saying that he'll run if he has to. What is wrong is the fans thinking that he beat Subriel Matias easy while also acknowledging this type of character coming from Alberto Puello. You see what I'm saying? Good fight. I got Matias though. Yeah, man. Subriel will stop Puello. I don't think Puello will handle the pressure. Listen, and I'll say this like I tell to everybody, man. I think Puello, it's gonna be a good fight, bro. It's gonna be a good fight until, and this is just my prediction. This is just my prediction, bro. It's gonna be a good fight up until the fifth round. This is my prediction. I feel like Alberto Puello is gonna get success within the first 1 to 5 rounds until the first, exchanges that actually favor Subriel Matias. Once Subriel Matias goes through the exchanges that favor him, that first to the second one, maybe even third one, that favors Subriel Matias, where he actually won that exchange, is gonna affect the way Alberto Puello performs for the rest of the fight. That's my prediction, and I think it's gonna take place around the fifth round, where Alberto Puello's gonna be on the back foot doing what he do, catch his brill, be on the back foot and counter the best he can, mainly just trying to collect the rounds, and then when it gets to the fifth round, I could see some type of exchange that slows up the pace of Alberto Puello, and then going into the sixth round, he's gonna feel like he was in the 12th round. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna be worn down. And I think that's the difference. I think people don't understand when it comes to boxing. You can have all the boxing skills you want, but when you're getting hit, while you're hitting, that takes a toll of you, and it really brings a lot of your gas tank. A lot of you motherfuckers right now can't even run the block. You can't even run around the block without getting tired. So just because a person is a boxer and he trains his whole motherfucking life, it could be equivalent to you not being able to run that whole block without running out of breath to a fighter that's been training his whole life in the gym, but goes against a fighter like Subriel Matias or a pressure fighter that's hitting you while making you have to exchange with him. That starts to accumulate. It's like if you ever fight, when you punch on somebody, it still hurts you. You know what I'm saying? Some motherfuckers be punching. You see people hurt their hand all the time winning fights, knocking motherfuckers out and breaking their hand during the process, hurting themselves. It still hurt. You know what I'm saying? And even when you're hitting and they're landing punches in between in your body, a lot of times when you're done fighting in the morning after, you feel like you just got jumped. Like, damn, getting out your bed, you're like, oh shit. sore as fuck. You know what I'm saying? If you went through a war type of fight, that's the type of fight that Subriel Matias brings. He brings that type of fight where the next morning you feel like you just got jumped. Crawford has rematch clause against Earl. No, Earl had the rematch clause. Earl had a rematch clause, or maybe they both did. I don't know, but I know Earl had the rematch clause. That was the big talk, and he never exercised it. He never. He kept stunting on it. He was supposed to fight. I believe, who was it? Mario Barrios. He was supposed to fight for a minute. Was it Mario Barrios? It was no Fundora. He was supposed to fight Fundora for a minute, and it never happened. And then he just lost. The date of that rematch clause ran out. So yeah, that was more on Earl Spence because Crawford was willing to do it. Crawford was there. He was waiting, and he was able to defend against Madrimov, and then he was still waiting, and he just said no, his time is up because he already passed the date, the deadline date, and he wasn't gonna, I think Crawford was. I think he was considering still giving him a rematch. I think that's what he was doing. He was still considering giving Earl Spence a rematch. But the whole thing that wouldn't have as much weight because he wasn't the undisputed no more. And Earl Spence ducked the immediate rematch to become undisputed. So yeah, it is what it is. What up, VicSznTV? Hit the like and subscribe. Oh yeah, let me show y'all this, bro. Tell me that shit ain't fire, bro. For everybody watching right now, make sure to hit that like button. I had to ask ChatGPT to check out my ish, right? I said, yo, who's VicSznTV? And the few things popped up that was pretty interesting. I was like, oh, this shit is fire, but this shit stuck out to me. I would say the most. There's something else that they said too, but it said here the first year growth among the most prolific. Look, at VicSeason's first year growth is among the most prolific, motherfucker. You heard me? AI know what they talking about, son. Is the most prolific in terms of content volume and niche engagement. While it may not have the highest subscriber count yet, its upload frequency, branding, and community building are setting it up for breakout potential. Shout out to ChatGPT, or not Chat. This is a different one. This Copilot, I believe. Microsoft. Shout out to them, bro. You know what I mean? We doing big things, man. I was surprised when they said that shit. They was like VicSznTV. Look, I'm gonna read you something else they said, bro. It was pretty cool. If the ring is small, you won't be able to perform your moves and get away. Or if you're hurt, won't. No, you can. What you mean? If you're a boxer, you can. If you're a boxer, you can move around an 18 by 18 foot ring. I don't know where y'all getting this information from. If you got good footwork, good lateral movement, 2 feet. If you're a boxer, like you say, 2 feet ain't a big. Think about it. He lowered it from 20 by 20 to 18 by 18. He didn't do it to a 10 by 10 or a 5 by 5. You know what I'm saying? He just did it so it's not as dramatic. You know what I'm saying? Every inch counts though if you're a runner, because you want to be able to avoid exchanges by all costs, right? If you're someone like that, if you plan to perform like Devin Haney's last performance or like William Skull's last performance, then every inch counts because you want to utilize every inch of that 20 feet. But if you actually come near the box and you can stay in the pocket and, like Bruce Carrington, like even Keyshawn Davis, like who like Bam Rodriguez, you know what I'm saying? Like Mayweather, you can stay in the pocket, catch something, move around, lateral movement quick, break the rhythm of your opponent, make him reset, capitalize off it, dip. Like what was the purpose of bobbing and weaving? What was the purpose of staying in the pocket with your defense, the Philly shell? What was the purpose of that? You know what I'm saying? What was the purpose of lateral movements? Right? The purpose was to apply a form of defense that you wasn't turning your back to run or depend on avoiding exchanges by running around. That was set. The Philly shell was set to catch and shoot, to the pull counter. That was set to capitalize off it, make them miss and make them pay. That's what boxing is supposed to be like. Hit, not get hit, make them miss and make them pay. It's not run the fuck around to try to get a victory on the scorecards through the point system. That's amateur shit. This is pro boxing. You know what I'm saying? The whole purpose is so that you could actually show the people, show yourself, and showcase and display what you've been working in training camp. You know what I'm saying? The Philly shell, these styles were created on a to help with your defense, to improve your defense, while also capitalizing off of it with offense. You know what I'm saying? Remember, it's a hit, not get hit, make them miss and make them pay. It's not, it's not hit and not get hit, and it's not, make them miss and don't make them pay at all. You know what I'm saying? No, that's not the sport. They should make another sport, but that's not. But don't call it boxing. If motherfuckers want to do that, put it somewhere else. But that's not boxing. Go back. They should have a professional amateur league. You know what I'm saying? I truly believe, and this is not even me being jokester or nothing. Like, I'm being 100% serious. I truly believe they should come out with a professional amateur league where, you fight like the amateurs, but you don't wear, the headgear, that's pretty much it. But you still go according to amateur thing. You do the standing 8 counts more regularly. You do the point system heavy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there should be a separate league for that. So if you do want to round, and I feel like even if you run too much and you don't engage in those type of fights, you should still get point deductions. You know what I'm saying? Because that's even not acceptable in a lot of amateur fighting. Running like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not even acceptable, bro. I done see motherfucking amateur fights where like, yo, come on, let's see some action, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're like, yo, come on, you're not even doing nothing. You're making them miss, but you're not making them pay. They act like Matias don't have stamina, and if it are a bigger ring, they all scared. They don't want the smoke for real. Yeah, my thing is, it don't matter if it's 20 by 20 or not, or 18 by 18. Subriel Matias could do both of them joints, bro. He's done it already. That's not the, and I think that's the confusion. People, oh, why can't they use 20 by 20? Why? He's not. They're not complaining. They took the fight expecting it to be 20 by 20. You know what I'm saying? But when they got offered the 18 by 18, hey, let's do that too. He always give them the first, second round before and get into the Mortal Kombat finishing mode. Yeah, that's a fact. He definitely be on that type of time. That's why I've been trying to tell motherfuckers like, yo, listen, the first few rounds, he's gonna probably give up. Not, and I wouldn't say even intentionally, he'll still try to attempt to, win some exchanges and possibly take the round if he could. But overall, it's about working his opponent, making his opponent work, making sure he's working, making sure if he's gonna be on the back foot, okay, I'm gonna keep you on the back foot, right? But when I'm able to close the distance, I'm gonna make you work in that distance. I'm gonna put my work there, and then I'm gonna make you work. Because people think just being on the back foot is not tiring. When you're getting, when you're going through exchanges, and then you gotta avoid, getting punched on, but you're still getting punched on while you're being on the back foot. That takes a toll of you, bro. Being on the back foot, you gotta have good stamina. It still takes a toll of you, especially if you're getting hit. If you're getting hit a lot, it's gonna wear you down. That's the only thing that gets me. These peeps saying Domi gonna run around Matias. I'm like, I hope they right, cause he's coming like it's the final thing. Yeah, man. Shout out to Puello. I'm not taking nothing away from Puello. It's just, listen, there's signs everywhere that's not in his favor right now. And it seems like he's truly intimidated, right? He could come out and put a great performance. But I feel like he's starting to give signs of giving us a Liam Skull type of fight. Or William Skull, my boss said Liam Skull. I feel like he's giving signs of giving us William Skull type of fight. So bro, can't start off slow, allowing Puello to get accumulate points in the early rounds. That's true. His last two fights, he started pretty fast. His last two fights, he started really fast. So I'm hoping that he keeps that same, type of approach going into this one. My prediction is that Puello will outbox Matias to the opening bell to the final blow. I think he'll put the pressure on him and just come in and out with slick combos and just overwhelm, leading to a KO. So you think he's gonna KO? All right, if you think he's gonna KO him, I don't think I don't see that happening. I mean, I don't think that's a realistic prediction, but it could still happen. It's boxing. We seen it all the time where motherfucker that wasn't supposed to win ends up winning, and it be happening. Look what happened to Keyshawn Davis' big brother. He ended up losing to Albright. Not saying that that's the best example because they're not on the highest level of the sport yet, but that was one of those fights where Keyshawn Davis over brother Keon Davis was supposed to win, and unfortunately, Albright just had his number. Laugh my and Puello ain't gonna KO ish. Yeah. I wasn't really. I don't think that's really. You know, Alberto Puello never KO'd nobody in a long time. He does have KOs, but he haven't KO'd nobody in a long time since he hit the high level. He's coming off two split decision victories, bro. Two split decision victories in a row. So he went through wars in those fights too. Um, yeah, man. We'll have to wait and see. At least now after if Subriel Matias could take out Alberto Puello, that'd be a great way for him to earn respect in that 140 division. Because in that 140 division, he's not getting that respect because a lot of these fighters ducked him. And he got to take what he got to take. But the fighters that he did had to take were still problems, like Ergashev. He was a problem. Bonset. Bonset was a problem, bro. These guys were problems. Bonset got ducked by Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor ended up vacating his titles because of Bonset. And he ducked him. He could have kept more titles and he decided to vacate and only keep the WBO to defend against Teal when he could have kept them and defend against his mandatory and Bonset. That's how Subriel Matias became champion. He took a fighter that everybody was ducking, who was a knockout artist and undefeated fighter, and he ended up finishing him, making him quit. So, and I guess we'll have to see. If Subriel Matias beats Alberto Puello, I would appreciate that so much because then people could come back and understand what the fuck I've been saying for so long. You know what I mean? But it's boxing and anything can happen. But at least if Subriel could get this victory, and it's looking like that's it just seems like that momentum is building up for Subriel according to how, Puello's going about this build up right now, bro. Matias has a surprise for Puello and not gift. Okay, it's not a gift one. That's a good one. Remember, almost all boxing gym use the 18 by 18 when they use for sparring. So yeah, man, exactly. Won't stop or KO ish. Yeah, man. That's not like a realistic. That's what I'm saying. You haven't gave me like but I respect it. I'm not gonna because all for all we know, all of a sudden he gets a fucking knockout victory, and then you come back. I told you, it's boxing. Anything can happen. But if we're going to according to their last performances, how things been playing out, and we're utilizing history to play a role and an influence to our prediction, then saying that Puello knocks out Subriel Matias is not a realistic prediction. I would say decision is the most realistic thing, you know what I'm saying? And say, him winning a hard earned decision, maybe a split decision, considering that he's continues coming off of split decisions, you know what I mean? But to say a knockout, you know, I can't really see that happening. Let me see. Look at the Plant versus Canelo fight. When he got tired, everything changed. Yep. That's my point. Once you get tired, it's over, bro. You be from there. You're not only fighting your opponent, you're fighting yourself. You're in a battle with yourself. How long can you last? Not just how long can you put up with your opponent, but how long can you really stay in there and you know hang and bang. I have a strong feeling No Mas Tias is coming to make a statement behind my counting him out, and also trying to there's a style of combo. Okay, yeah, I could agree with that, Joe. See, according to Box, Matias threw more punches during the Peril fight. 624 total punches in the fight he lost. Then Puello threw against Russell in 426 total punches. Both went 12 rounds. That's good. That's pretty cool numbers for the Box, I guess. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty cool numbers. So that just goes to show you. Let's see if that says a few things. You know what I'm saying? Um, that just means that what that sounds to me, it sounds like Alberto Puello got his hands full because in a victory he landed 400 and he threw 426 punches in his victory over Russell, while Subriel Matias in his loss, losing a fight, he threw 624. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro, that's crazy right there. Who you think makes better adjustments, Puello or Matias? It's hard to. I can't say Matias because Matias didn't make an adjustment for his losses, right? He didn't make an adjustment for Perro. He didn't make an adjustment for Petro until he came back and beat him. So Subriel Matias never really got put in a position in his victories where he had to adjust. His game plan is just to, seek and destroy. Most of the time, the opponent gets worn out and then he destroys them. So there's never a time where he truly had to adjust himself as far as his victories go. You know what I'm saying? He never had to really adjust himself. He just destroys when he wins. But in his losses, I can't say that he adjusted well. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't do with Leon Perro, he was supposed to adjust, he didn't adjust well. So I'll have to lean towards Matia Puello when it comes to who's better at making adjustments. That's my honest answer. You're right. You don't need power to KO someone, but Puello doesn't have a stronger will than Matias. Yeah, yeah. It's all about. Yeah, it's definitely all about that. Now you don't need to throw a lot of punches, but understand what I'm trying to tell you. Subriel Matias, when he throws those high volume punches, he wins fights. So it's not like. So I see what you're saying. You're saying you're absolutely right. It happened with Amanda Serrano, even though I truly believe she won against Katie Taylor, but she broke the record in women's boxing for the most punches landed in a single fight. That being said, she lost the fight, so it doesn't mean just because you land the most punches, it doesn't mean you win the fight. I totally agree with that. However, when it comes to Subriel Matias, his fights don't normally go to decision. You know what I'm saying? So when he wins his fight, it's not a decision fight. Every win is from a knockout. He got 100%, 100% KOs. You know what I'm saying? His KOs is at 100%. That being said, that means everything for Subriel Matias. If you think about it, those high volume punches mean everything for Subriel Matias because that's how he got his 100% KO ratio. So I agree and disagree with what you just said. The fight getting closer and Puello realizes it's about to get real. Think because I felt Antonio power and tried to compare them the same. Yeah, man. He went through a war. There's a lot that's gonna go into it with Puello, man. And I'm gonna be fair. Puello just came off of two wars and just pulled a victory, right? From both fights. I felt like he won more convincingly in that Gary Antoine Russell fight. It was still very close, and it was still a split decision. Then Santa Martin, another split decision. They had a little war, and a lot of people, but that fight was controversial with him and Santa Martin. He's going through these, Santa Martin's more of a boxer, and they had a little war. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like to get Alberto Puello to exchange is not too difficult. Do you see what I'm trying to say? It's looking like to bait him into a war isn't too hard. He looks like he's easy to bait into a battle. Do you guys see what I'm saying now? I've been saying this, man. Styles make fights, but we seen him just come off of two wars. Once against one against an aggressive fighter, the other against a boxer as well. Santa Martin, the reason why I say Santa Martin is more of a boxer is because the way he fought Teofimo Lopez, he was boxing. You know what I'm saying? Boxing his ass off. So if you put two and two together, it seems like it's easy to bait someone like Puello into exchanging. He's gonna do his thing. He's gonna box, but at some moments of those fights, he's gonna have to punch his way out of a situation. When has Puello made someone quit with his pressure? Matias' pressure is way too much. Made undefeated fighters quit. That's a fact. He faced several undefeated fighters, made them quit, and he changed some of them too for good. So, and this last two fights, they took a knee and said no. Yeah, one happened in the second round, one in the seventh round. Puello's intent to score points, Matias goes into to hurt you. That's a fact, man. Panda had the game plan, and that won't work with Zapata against Shakur. You have to be 100%. Can't take off any rounds. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I don't got Zapata winning that. I got Shakur winning that, bro. I just feel like Zapata having showcased power his last two fights against Tevin Farmer. What threw me off is that he fucking landed like he threw 100 punches a damn round, damn near. It's like he was like throwing 100 punches around, and he's the one that got himself knocked down against Tevin Farmer. Do you see what I mean? So I feel like Shakur has more credible boxing abilities than Tevin Farmer, and I think he might secure a KO for all we know. And the fact that he was willing to he signed off for it to be 18 by 18, bro, that's fucking fire. That's much respect to Shakur. Like that low key is making me become a fan of him because that I'm all about the Warriors. That's Warrior shit. People saying you're a runner, okay, whatever. You know what? I'm confident in my victory over him. I'll sign off that ring being 18 by 18. It's not gonna do nothing. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to win, but I'm gonna give you any advantage you feel like you wanna have to try to beat me. That's the Warrior shit. Boxers could still be warriors. Goyaso is a great masterclass boxer. He's a warrior. But the only thing he's a true warrior because he be knocking motherfuckers out. We just need to see Shakur Stevenson close the show because we know he could close the fucking show. It's just he's giving us boring performances in fights that we truly believe you could take him out of there. Total punches from Matias do mean a whole lot. Yeah, man. That's how I was just trying to tell the bull. That means a whole lot because he got 100% KO ratio. That means everything. That's one of the keys to his victories, bro. High volume of punches. You know what I'm saying? So that does mean everything. But I do agree in saying that it doesn't always win you fights. But according to Subriel Matias, every fight he has had high punch ratio and he finished them with 100% KOs. So yeah, man. Yeah, Matias is not playing, bro. Let me see what we got here, man. Just like how Ryan lost with Rolly, he might come back with some ish. Yeah, yeah. Definitely possible. What gets me is Gary Anton Russell is viewed as some incredible champ, but never fought these strong Russians like Subriel had to fight strong fighters from. Yeah, Kakastan. He said Kakastan. Kakastan is hilarious, bro. No, though. Listen, a lot of people talk crazy about Subriel Matias, right? But now everybody's starting to respect these Russian fighters, bro. That's the funniest shit. Now everybody want to respect these Russian fighters, but Subriel Matias been taking these motherfuckers out. You see what I'm saying? It's just people are catching on late. They're not analyzing the situation. Well, and I'm glad you pointed that out because I feel like we don't focus on that enough. However, I still respect Gary Antoine Russell to the fullest because I still believe there's some challenges in that division. But the way he fights is the type of fight that I love to watch, and I appreciate him putting it all out there. Though his fight against Rayo, even with Puello, he did what he had to do. He was going for it. You know what I'm saying? And I respect that because he's putting his health on the line at the end of the day. And he's doing it for our entertainment, but at the same time, he's doing it because he wants to win. So I gotta respect him for it. But I do agree with these fighters and their opponent selection where, Subriel Matias wasn't getting a lot of respect because they saying he's fighting these no names. But now you guys are getting more familiar with how these Russians really get down. Look at Backrum. Motherfucker took out Tim's looking crazy. I'm not mistaken. Better Beef is in from that area, right? Better Beef and Bivo. Ain't they from the? I know Bivo. I think Bivo is from the Russian area or Ukrainian area. Those places, Dagestan, Pakistan, Gagistan, Kakistan. So yeah, man. People catch on, but at the end of the day, it's up to Subriel Matias to continue doing what he do, so that people could look back and really respect him for these opponents that he did beat and be like, damn, Subriel Matias, we slept on him, bro. He was doing stuff that we respect these fighters for doing now, but he been doing it. But if he doesn't win, guess what? People are not gonna respect him. They're gonna think that they're still nobodies. He just needs to win and let them know, like, yo, I've been doing this shit, bro. And it's true, he has. Unfortunately, boxing is unforgivable. So if you don't win your biggest fights, you don't get remembered for your other ones. He can't throw that versus Russell because he wasn't throwing the volumes. Okay, yeah. They were saying Ergashev was going to beat Matias. Everybody that Matias faced, they said was basic. Matias was like the underdog in almost every fight, bro. Almost every fight, Matias was the underdog. Yeah, Ergashev was supposed to be the guy that beat him. He was talking crazy and he had to quit, man. He had 20 knockouts, and look what happened. He started off good and ended up bad for him. He quit on the stool. Yeah, that's a fact. How much of the 624 punches landed? What you gotta understand, this Derek, I'm not sure how long you been watching boxing, bro, because I feel like you're not understanding the context. Who cares how many of those punches he landed because they're not going to the scorecards? Do you see what I'm saying? It don't matter. He could have landed only one punch out of 1,000, but he finished the fight. That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. That those are like rhetorical questions. These are like pointless questions. Not to insult you. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to. I love my audience. I love y'all. But when you ask stuff like this, that's kind of like it makes it irrelevant because who cares how many punches he landed? Just put it this way: if he landed a lot of punches, Whale's in trouble. You know what I'm saying? If he lands, if he only landed one punch, Whale's in trouble because he threw so many, but all he had to do was land one punch to finish the fight, and he got 100% KO ratio. So you see what I'm saying? That's why, like, no matter what, there's no answer that's gonna favor your take when you ask that type of question. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter if he's winning by KO, right? Peril threw 1,100 total punches. That's fucking amazing. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Peril, man. I gotta give Peril his props. He threw a lot of punches, but that's not from boxing. So you mean to tell me that you got to box? What boxer is landing that much punches, bro? That's proof that Peril didn't outbox him. You don't outbox him by landing 1,100 punches. That's not called that. That's called a war. when both punches are throwing, not landing, throwing that much. That's called a motherfucking war, bro. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's called a motherfucking war. My cam will be back on shortly. Don't worry. Yeah, man. But let me see what else. Can Puello do that? Puello threw 526 total punches against Martin. Can Puello throw over 1,000 punches without getting tired after all that pressure? You see, that's what people don't understand. Look what Perro had to go through to win. People don't understand. Perro had to go through a lot to win. You can't land that many punches being on the back foot. That's why I keep trying to tell y'all. A lot of those punches was landed in the clinch. His main focus was clinch work. Throw a few punches, and as soon as I rush him with some punches, clinching. You know what I'm saying? He landed majority of those punches in the clinch, and I think people overlook that. There's a way there's a way to beat Matias, but it involves cheating. But if you're able to get away with it, then you could collect the victory. Or if Subriel Matias is just not, his best, which I also believe he wasn't his best. I think even through that process of Perro doing that, I think he still could have beat Perro, in my opinion. Well, thanks, VicSkn. Great content. Last thing is, my boy, no, Matias Wick is man of focus, a man of commitment and shit. Yeah, facts. See how long I've been in for 2 hours. Dacho. Let me see what's up. Man, listen, don't hesitate to drop a little something in my Cash App. Don't worry, gotta make sure to bless you with that cash back. You know what I'm saying? Support your favorite channel, the universal favorite, to fight fist from all nations. Regardless, I appreciate your support. And we're gonna continue hitting them with the best content on the internet to continue giving them the best content in the internet. I said continent. How the fuck I fucked that up? Yeah, man. That's crazy work. What we got here? Technically, let me see what's up over here. Yeah, 20. Make sure to hit that like button, man. Stop playing with your boy. All right. What you say here? Technically, Matias doesn't have a 100% KO ratio. He went the full 12 rounds with Petra and Perro. Understand that the KO ratio. Can you get a KO Vic? Let me ask you a question. See, this is how you know you gotta. This is how I know that you got a misunderstanding. You don't understand context too well. You're confusing 100%. Victory ratio to 100% KO ratio. You can't have and this is why what you're saying don't really make sense, because if there's no way you could add to your KO ratio by losing. You know what I'm saying? That's why what you're saying. That's why I'm trying to tell you, bro. I don't know how long you've been watching boxing, or maybe you just don't understand the context. But KOs are they're made by your victories, not by your losses. That'll be something different. Now you're talking about your victory ratio. You know what I'm saying? What's your victory percentage? His victory percentage then would be like a 80%. You know what I'm saying? Like 80 something percent. Right? I'll say probably like 85, 86%. That would be his victory percentage, Subriel Matias. But we're talking about his KO ratio. Obviously, you could only collect a KO if you won the fight, right? You could only collect the KO if you won the fight. So that's where it's being judged. What's your K? Not judged, but that's where the result of your percentage is coming from the fights that you won. Because obviously you can't get a KO losing a fight. You know what I'm saying? That it don't make no sense, right? So you're simply confusing the percentage of a person's record compared to the percentage of their knockouts, right? That's what you're or the victories from what they're getting, right? The whole shit, the knockout percentage is based on your victories, That's what it is. It's not based off your record. It's based off your victories. I hope you understood. I hope I was able to explain that good for you. It was pretty. I know I made it seem pretty, common sense. I made it feel like common sense. I hope so. That's how I wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? So to keep it short, I'll explain this one more time just so it doesn't go over your head. Uh, the knockout percentage is based off of your victories. It's determined through your victories, right? So if you went to a decision 2 times out of the 8 other victories was KOs, then that means you got an 80% KO ratio, right? But if you lost, that doesn't count because obviously you can't get a KO in a loss. So yeah, that's all it is. You're simply confusing the two from the record percentage to the victory, the form of the victory percentage. You know what I'm saying? Matias total punches on Ponce fight 396 total punches in 5 rounds. If he throws that many on the same amount rounds, Puello going to be in trouble. That's 396 punches, bro. And 396 in a 5 rounds. Because he finished the fight in 5 rounds. So yeah, man. You said he failed to KO Farron Peril, so that proves that he doesn't have elite KO power. Bro, all right, you know what? Take him out of here, bro. I'm sorry. This now you talking way too casual, bro. You know what you're sounding like now, bro. And this when it gets cringe. You sound like somebody that wants to act like they know what they're talking about, bro. We were talking about a fighter that got um 22 fights. What is it? 22 victories with 22 KOs. You're talking about a fighter that got 22 victories with 22 KOs, and you're telling me he's not a uh again what you said, elite KO power, bro? Are you kidding me, bro? He did knock out Petros. What are you talking about? He rematched Petro, bro. I'm gonna give you a chance. He failed to KO elite fighters, bro. He so you're telling me your point is I'm gonna give you this one time, right? Because maybe you sound like somebody that just likes to, like, you're like the type of person that likes to argue, like to be right, right? You always got something to say even when it don't make no damn sense. I already proved you wrong about how they judge the KO ratio. I already proved you that, right? And I told you that that is determined through your victories, because obviously you can't judge, you can't add that from the losses, because you can't win, you can't lose, you can't KO somebody and lose, right? You win if you KO somebody. So the KO ratio is determined by your victories. You're confusing the KO victories to the actual record overall percentage. That's what you're confusing. I already, try to make you understand that. Now you're saying this was your point. He failed to KO 2 elite fighters. He still has power. He has, wait, what? He failed to KO 2 elite fighters. He still has power, but then you said that he doesn't have. What was the other thing you said? He failed to KO, whatever the case is. But then you said Petro and Pero is elite in my opinion. No, I understand. Then if that's the case, you just shot yourself in the foot, because he KO'd Petros in the rematch. You see what I'm saying? He KO'd Petros in the rematch. So, you gotta come with understanding, bro. If you can't just sit here and be like, listen, okay, I get it, I understand. I don't mind educating somebody, but if you're gonna be that student in the class that just don't want to listen and want to be read about everything, but just don't understand what's going on, then I'm gonna send your ass to the office, bro. And how I do that is by kicking your ass out. Damn, that was bars. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to kick your ass out if you're not willing to understand. You know what I mean? It seems like you just want to have something back to say. Listen, Petro, and it's all love, but I don't want to keep responding to you, and it's gonna be like wasting my time. He KO'd Petros in the rematch. Apparel, according, I don't got the actual source, but according to some, you know, rumors, it's just rumors for now. But Perro didn't want the rematch right away. That being said, you know that we over here now at a fight with, and he got 20. Another thing is he got 22 KOs, 22 victories. That's pretty elite. He's on a high level. He was a world champion. You don't go to a world champion by not fighting top level fighters, bro. Just because you don't know them, right? Let me see. Look, he KO'd everyone by, yeah, he literally KO'd everybody he ever faced but Perro, bro. You missed the Petro. He knocked out Petro in the rematch. He killed everybody ever faced except Perro, and Perro made it had to go to the hospital that same night, bro. So it's not like I want you to like just have a place in your mind of understanding what's going on. Cause if not, then I'm just like talking to a wall. Cause I know you're gonna say something back to counter. I get that has a 100% kill ratio, but he didn't kill Perro. So what that has to say about anything? What? So what? What that got to do about anything? Canelo didn't KO Berlanga. Canelo didn't KO fucking uh fucking Jamal Charlo, who's coming up a couple divisions. You know what I'm saying? Canelo didn't knock out a lot of people. Mike Tyson didn't knock out a lot of people. Not a lot, but there's a few fighters Mike Tyson didn't knock out. So what is your point? But yeah, that's pretty much it, bro. I want to hear what you guys say about that because I think you expect a knockout artist to have a 100% knockout ratio against, or knock out every single fighter he ever faces forever. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're confusing. If that's the case, you're expecting Subriel Matias to be a completely perfect fighter. Tell me who has Puello knocked out. When was his last knockout? When was his last unanimous decision victory? Do you see what I'm saying? And just because he didn't lose, that don't mean nothing. Canelo was considered a knockout artist. Canelo was definitely considered a knockout artist. What are you talking about, bro? Yo, all right, I gotta give somebody the moderation, man. I gotta give somebody the moderation, bro. This motherfucker just said Canelo wasn't a knockout artist. Canelo was a knockout artist. He wasn't a knockout artist. The reason why he's not a knockout artist now is because he stopped collecting knockouts, motherfucker. But he was definitely a knockout artist. He could still be a knockout artist if he starts getting knockouts now. He could be a knockout artist. Do you think? How about Edgar Berlanga? Edgar Berlanga's a knockout artist. Do you think he's a knockout artist or no? Is Edgar Berlanga a knockout artist? Tell me that right now. And I still consider Canelo a knockout artist. I still consider Canelo a knockout artist. Why wouldn't he be? He just haven't been getting knockouts. As of recent, he hasn't been getting knockouts, but according to the record, he got some motherfucking knockouts. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get him out of here, bro. Yeah, definitely clown type behavior. I appreciate oh, one of my moderators did it. Thank you. Damn, I thought where y'all at? I was wondering where the hell y'all was at. I was like, this can't be because this motherfucker was just trolling at this point. You know what it is, bro? Let me put my cam back on real quick. You know what it is? Is that motherfuckers don't like being wrong, but they also don't understand boxing. You know, they want to be right about everything. They want to, and when you explain yourself, he literally said, like, this is what I'm talking about. And this so you guys understand, because hopefully I could, break it down to where you guys, if you guys ever questioned this before. And bro basically said, yo, KO ratio, he don't have 100% KO ratio because he lost to, first he said that, he started off wrong to begin with. I think he has to be a kid. He might be a kid, right? But he said, what was it? Alberto Puello will win because he's undefeated. That's and he got more skill. He's undefeated and he got more skill. And although I didn't care about that, okay, that's your take. I mean that's not really convincing, but hey, that's your take. That's your take, right? But then he goes, Subriel Matias don't got KO ratio. He don't have he don't got 100% KO ratio because he lost to Petro and he lost to Leon Pero. But then I try to break it down, motherfucker. The KO ratio is determined by the victories on how you won. That's how it's determined, not by how you lost, because that wouldn't make sense. It's by how you won. You're confusing the KO percentage to your record percentage. You know what I'm saying? Oh, and then he goes, oh, but still, he's not an elite power KO artist because he didn't knock out Pero or Petro. Then I say he did knock out Petro in the rematch. You know what I'm saying? He never got a chance to rematch Pero again, but he did send him to the hospital. You know what I mean? But he did knock out Petro. Now what? Oh, but he didn't knock out Pero. See, you just one of them motherfuckers. You just one of them motherfuckers, man. So yeah, I like being challenged sometimes, so I could see what I'm getting. But if I feel like I'm just talking to somebody that don't got no type of sense, then it's kind of like, man, it's all love. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get to the people that's actually trying to build. You know, you could be a fan of Puello, but at least let me hear what you got. And if you're gonna just try to challenge shit that you just don't understand yourself, then and you don't want to listen, then I gotta kick your ass out. He writes, so why so many quit on the stool? Yeah, exactly. I That's my point, man. You can't argue with casual fans. They don't know much and they swear they right. Yeah. They just go according to assumptions. That's what casuals do, man. They go according to assumptions. They assume, right? They got access to try to find the answers to things like we all do. I'm building, a platform where I'm able to get more access to certain things and certain sources than maybe some of you guys might. But for the most part, you guys can still get a hold of the same things I can get a hold of to find out some of the news, right? But everybody's busy, so I got more time on my hands to do that because this is what I do for my platform, and that's why I make your life easier. So you could just come to VicSznTV and not have to go out your way to do all the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You go to one source and that's it. You good money. But motherfucker would rather go. He'd rather put himself and I can't even say embarrassed because these are troll accounts, and that's why I got to stop entertaining these like accounts that have no pictures like that that's trying to troll. So yeah, it is what it is. Try understanding what Vic is explaining to you, kiddo. Yeah, man. Motherfuckers just don't want to listen. They don't want to get this work. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to get this work. Pearl went to the hospital right after. Yeah, man. Camera back from he came back from the loss in KO. Yeah. What can we say, man? There's always gonna be somebody that has no, he just Dominican, bro. Yeah, he probably is. Yeah, shout out to Dominicans. Not against Dominicans. You know what I'm saying? I love my Dominicans. I grew up with Dominicans too, bro. We was all tight, but you know, I'm gonna keep it real about the situation at all times. I'm not gonna sit here and say that motherfucker. Like I said, I felt like I'm not gonna sit here and say that Puello didn't beat Gary Anton Russell. I felt like it was a close fight and he won by a split decision, but I felt like it went to the right person, and I felt like Puello did win that fight. I watched it. I thought it was convincing enough for Puello to take it. I felt like if they didn't give it to Puello, it would have been a robbery, but it was close enough for it to be a split decision. I felt like the split decision victory was perfect. I felt like it would. I feel like boxing got it right that night. Puello deserved that victory and got the title. I think sitting to Martin though, that one's a little different. I feel like that was more controversial. Um, but that being said, yeah, man. Better Beef has 100% kill ratio and his record is 21 and 20 and 1. Oh, yeah. Uh it got 20. Yeah, no, he's not supposed to have 100% KO ratio. He's definitely not supposed to have I think his KO his ratio is like 90 now. It has to be like 90 something because he won by decision against Bivol. So they might have been judging before. They might have been judging before he got that shit, you know what I'm saying? So, but other than that, after the victory over Bivol, it's like at 96% or something because he won by decision in one of his fights. Cream figured, oh, that's funny. Let's see. Everybody going to believe once Matias, but that work, all the boxers are going to be ducking for real. Yeah, man. Shout out to my guy. Thank you. I appreciate you, me guy. Boost Raw, my dude. He doesn't. Yeah, shout out everybody. Drop a thumb out for my guy Boots real quick, man. He doesn't have 100% kill ratio. He won by majority decision. Yep, yep. Regis Progress. That would be nice if this was the real Regis Progress, man. I think Lendifo Delgado would be a good test for Matias. I said that. That's he's ranked number 2 right now. Delgado, Lindifo Delgado, ranked number two right now, and I guess they might have was supposed to make that fight between. No, no, he was just. I guess he might have been the backup if something was to happen with Subriel Matias in the mandatory. He would have taken that spot for mandatory. He beat Elvis for that shit. Yeah, that dude, Delgado Lendifo. I'm not gonna lie, he could fucking box his ass off. He's pretty dope, man. I like him. I felt like that fight with him and Elvis was a little controversial, but overall, Elvis really only had that one moment in that fight. Everything else was kind of off. I felt like Lindipo was definitely doing his thing for sure. I think that would be a great fight and a Mexican Puerto Rican showdown. That shit would be wild. Mm. Look, he is a treat for my tears, bro. Yeah, toma, toma. By the way, a prospect is a person who isn't ranked. Matias isn't prospect. He's former champion. Plus, he's ranked number 1. Yeah, who's? I wonder who said that. I wonder who said that he's a prospect. Somebody in here said he's a prospect. That would make no sense. The fuck? Who said this? Ain't Regis Progress. This is a fucking thing account, man. We know what a prospect is, bruh. Nah, but nah, you're absolutely right. A prospect is an unranked fighter. That's a problem. And Subriel Matias is not only a former champion, or a former IBF champion, he's a former defending IBF champion. You know what I'm saying? I think people forget to mention the defending. You know what I'm saying? He defended it once. It wasn't the longest, but he defended it once. And he's still ranked number 1 in the IBF. He's ranked in the other sanctioning bodies as well. So I don't remember him off the top of the head because they probably updated by now, but I remember the W. I think the only one he wasn't ranked in highly was in the WBO, but the WB, I think he was like 415 some shit on the WBO. I'm not too sure, but I know the WBA was like number 7. The WBC was like number 4. Um, and the IBF now is number 1. So I have to look back and see. I haven't looked at the updates yet. Yo, Vic, mark these words. Yo, itch is gonna explode. You'll soon see. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, man. That at least ChatGPT thinks so, bro. Or the John said VicSznTV first year growth. I'm excuse me, son. I got excited too. Damn. Damn, I got a little too excited. Oh, but look what motherfucking AI said. They said, VicSznTV first year growth is among the most prolific, motherfucker. I'm not even gonna read no more, but we're gonna leave it like that. I'm good with that. Most prolific. One of the most prolific in the first year. So yeah, you know what it is from there. But yo, if that is the real Regis Progress, hit me up on the gram, bro. And let's get you on the channel, man. I would like to get you on the No Mas with VicSznTV podcast. But if it's not you, then motherfucker, be original, bro. Be you. Not a test, not a threat, a treat, Lendifo. I don't know, man. I like Lendolfo. I don't know how Lindolfo. Lindolfo, I think Lindolfo is I'm not gonna lie, man. He looked impressive. I don't know. I felt like his style could match up crazy against Subriel. It could give Subriel some, trouble, but that's only if that style could also be durable. If that style also has a good gas tank, if that style also could um get used to throwing high punch rates, to keep someone like Matias off of him. Um, is Lindolfo also willing to do things he didn't think he'd have to do for a victory, like excessive clinching? You know what I'm saying? Like headbutting and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Would he be willing to do certain things like that to potentially get him the edge or get a better, joint on the round? So let me see. Green, I think he's a test. He's 23 and oh, pretty good test. Now I think, yeah, I truly believe Lindolfo. I remember when I called the fights, when I called the Lindolfo joint, I was like, yeah, this motherfucker kind of special. I'm not gonna lie, Lindolfo's type special, but again, I got to see how he performs against higher level competition. I know he did face Elvis. Shout out to Elvis. He did face Elvis, and he beat Elvis. I guess it was pretty close. People thought it was controversial, but I'm not sold on. I wasn't really sold on Elvis either. You know what I'm saying? I felt like he had some moments in his career, but I feel like he just didn't do enough for us to consider him a something. He's one of those. How would I say? What's a good comparison of a fighter that I could compare to Elvis? Like Elvis is a good fighter, but he's kind of like, all right, he's like the Puerto Rican version of Joseph Adorno. You know what I'm saying? It's funny because they fought, and I think he actually beat Joseph Adorno, if I'm not mistaken. I think he actually beat Joseph Adorno. Um, but he's like a kind of like the Dominican Joseph Adorno for boxing, where they made it on the high level, but they lose their biggest fights. And Joseph Adorno is a great fighter. He gave some competitive fights out there. You know what I'm saying? He fought Jermaine Ortiz. I think they got a draw. But overall, it looked like it was controversial. A lot of people really believe that Adorno won that fight against Jermaine Ortiz. He fought De Los Santos. De Los Santos said that Adorno was like his toughest fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just that Adorno happened to just lose his biggest fights, not by knockout and shit like that, but he just he just wasn't able to get the job done at the end of the day. He wasn't able to close the show. But you know, not to take away from it, it's still great for the sport. Still did their damn thing, man. But just wasn't enough. We're almost at let's hit them likes, man. Let's hit them likes. Is the Let me know if I'm buffering over here too, man. If you see me buffering, let me know. Let's see, Renee. It's like the Regis, the real one. How good is he after? Oh, that's a perk. Look it. Like it's like you, bro. It's like Regis. It's like you, bro. It's like you, the real. It's like you, bro. Like Elvis is like in your place. Like when you guys are on the top level, but you just never won your biggest fights. But you still competed against some of the best, and you gave it your all. But you just never was able to, pass that your biggest test. He said, "Tell that to Ryan Garcia." Yeah, Ryan Garcia lost to Broly. That's crazy. That's great. But Regis Progress, he's a warrior, bro. Regis Progress a warrior, bro. I gotta give. I'm not sure if this is the real one or fake one. It don't matter, but I rock with Regis. I think he has a cool personality. I think he's overall good as a cool dude, bro. And it's just boxing is one of those sports that it's hard to keep up with, bro. On a high level, you're going to get motherfuckers that's training every day, and usually the one that comes out on top is the one that worked the hardest. Sometimes somebody gets lucky and lands something crazy, but if both fighters are fully aware, fully focused, a lot of times it comes down to who really wanted the most and who was preparing the most in training camp. And and there's a lot of motherfuckers in boxing that you're competing against when it comes to that. Exactly how good Ryan is after Rolly. Yeah, man. Ryan performed great against Haney and lost to Rolly. Yeah, it definitely did. And that fight, I think that fight did a lot to both Devin and this on Devin and this on Ryan, as we could see. Yo, KO Yaso, this mini Pac-Man is like they want to try to make it a rivalry, but we game. You know why? You gotta understand. I was trying to like contribute towards the rivalry, right? But now I'm not because they're forcing this shit, bro. I don't know why motherfuckers is really forcing the rivalry. I don't understand that. See, at least with me, I was trying to see what's up with, to add to the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry with KO Yaso versus Bam Rodriguez. But at least KO, like people be like, oh, who's KO Yaso this that, and third. Bam is so many levels ahead. But if you really think about it, Bam Rodriguez is a great fighter. He accomplished a lot. And but at least KO Yaso is a unified lineal champion. And he's a knockout artist too. And he's undefeated. So it's not like that's still realistic. You know what I'm saying? He did more in the minimum weight division than Bam Rodriguez did. Bam Rodriguez never been undisputed. I think people get confused. They thought he was undisputed and all that. He was never undisputed. So that being said, you know, that's more of a realistic approach. But they're trying to bring the mini Pac-Man kid, and shout out to him. He seems like he might be on the sun, but he's it's way too early. He's nowhere there. What rank is he? You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean. I think it gets forced. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I bring up some fighters, but I make sure to hype it up. I do it differently. You know what I do? When I see these younger fighters, bro, and like for example, like Roca Lopez, like Keith Cologne, you know what I do? I tell them like this, bro. What's your dream matchups? That's what I do. I say, who would you like to face? What's your dream matchups? Or I name fighters and I see their responses. Give me one word, which, you know what I'm saying? So that way we could try to manifest that down the line. You know what I mean? But it's not to say, yo, let's stir this up. I think we can make this happen. Because I know that's not a real realistic matchup right now. You know, someone like Keith Cologne is not going to match up with someone like Inoue right now. He's 6-0, 6 KOs. He's on the right track. But it's still like, that journey to go through. If the more noise he makes, the bigger the possibility, and he's on the right track. But I make sure it's realistic. And even someone like Keith Cologne, he's intelligent. That's an intelligent young man right there, bro. He'll tell you himself, like, yeah, man, we're doing things, you know what I'm saying? I trust my team. We got things going on. He knows the process of becoming a successful boxing star. But trying to stir some shit up with him and like Inoue is a waste of time for his career right now. You know what I'm saying? We did some with him and Espinoza, like, and he said he believes that he got the skills to take on Espinoza when, because but there's a logic behind it because he trains with fighters that compete at that level. He trains with he sparred with Stephen Fulton. He sparred with Bruce Carrington. He's sparring with these guys and they're saying that, yo, you're giving them good work. Stephen Fulton contacted Keith Cologne to training camp for his fight against I think it's for his upcoming fight, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, or no, it's one of his last fights. But that's my point. He called them to, for that. Who was it? It was a box. He said, yo, damn, how I forget, man. It was one of Stephen Fulton's fight. And he said, like, I need you because this is how, this I'm gonna need to fight like you. He basically he said he needed to adopt Keith Cologne's type of fighting style or fighting approach per se to kind of get I guess leverage for that fight against whoever he was facing at the time. So there's logic behind it, but when they're saying somebody like the mini Pac-Man kid, and nothing to take away from him, but let's not force the rivalry. You know what I'm saying? Let's not, like, at least let's have some respect for some of the champions, and then if you want to be competitive, do that. Like, yo, I'm gonna get that fight eventually, but don't worry, just hold that belt tight for me. You know, be competitive. But to try to create the rivalry is like you're forcing it because there's so many people in between Mini Pac-Man. You know what I'm saying? There's so many people in between that we all would rather see before him, right? So that's why it's not ideal to force that type of matchup right now. Let him build some. Let's see a viral clip. Maybe he could go viral, and the shit just makes it so much more anticipating. Then we could see KO Yasuo against him. But right now, the only thing that KO Yasuo is gonna get, he'll knock him out, and Mini Pac-Man just gets clout. You know, so he gets clout, and he gets more known. He gets on the big on the higher platform, and KO Yasuo gets nothing out of it. You know what I mean? If Ryan doesn't get the knockdowns, he don't win. Devin was winning the rounds, bro. I kind of agree, low key, bro. Like I said, I kind of agree. Ryan Garcia didn't look that good. Regis, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think Ryan looked that good in the fight. He only looked good when he hurt Devin. But outside of him hurting him, when it actually came to them like exchanging, when he wasn't landing those big punches that made Devin Haney react, it seemed like Devin Haney was doing his fucking thing. I didn't understand, you know, why Devin Haney came back and fight Ramirez like that, because I felt like if he fought him the way he fought Ryan, he would have got him out of there. Is that really Regis? You need to go on Vic Season podcast, bro. You gonna have Matias and you in face off game. I don't think I don't think this is the real Regis, if you wanted me to be honest, bro. I think let me see. We'll go to his channel and see if there's, we always have people making, you know, accounts like this. Yeah, it definitely don't seem to be like the real Regis unless he just created an account. This account was just created on February 24th of this year. So it seems like this is definitely not the real Regis. It's probably somebody that, maybe gets ignored a lot and was hoping that somebody could recognize him and give him some, some highlights. Yeah, nah, Keith is definitely gonna get the experience. He's definitely gonna get some experience. He don't need to rush his process at all. Keith Cologne is on to something good, man. He just gotta go in his pace and he'll be straight. It's not real one because Regis don't know fighters from other weight classes. Yeah, I don't think he would know either, if I'm gonna be honest. Yo, we need somebody to hit that like. Matter of fact, yo, listen, I love y'all. It was great chopping it up with y'all, but I gotta get the fuck out of here, bro. I be here locked in for too long. Let me see what's up. Let me see where I'm at with it. All right. Yeah, I love y'all, but we out of here. Toma.